Violence and Vice by Keary Taylor. Narrated by Jesse Elwin. Chapter 8. Billings carries Aries with his hands under his armpits. I have hold of his ankles. Together, we shuffle into the warehouse as Harry holds the door open for us. We navigate our way through the maze of boxes, and finally, Harry scans his hand for the second door to open the second vault. We lay Aries down on the bed, and I take care to straighten him out, cupping a hand on his cheek. Fuck, he's so beautiful. Yet right now, he looks so damn broken. And the person responsible for breaking him is in the vault right next to this. I hear the scuffle of footsteps and glance over my shoulder to see Cisco walking in, Harry on his heels. "Thanks for saving my ass," Cisco says, eyeing Aries as he lies in that bed. "I'm honestly not sure I could have taken him if he'd gotten to me." I don't say it aloud, but there's no way Cisco could hold out against Aries. While Cisco is very tall, about 2 inches taller than Aries, Aries has to have about 20 or 30 pounds of muscle on Cisco. Cisco wouldn't have lasted long. It was just damn lucky timing that Aries finally charged his phone, I note as I sit on the bedside and look down at Aries' face. I've tried calling and texting a million times, but it's been dead. When I tracked him, I shake my head. When Aries finally comes back to himself, it's going to be horrific. But if he came to and also realized he'd ripped apart his best friend, I couldn't let that be on his conscience. "Looks like he's already been in a fight today," Cisco notes, his eyes scraping over the state of my fiancé. "With himself," I say, my words coming out hoarse. There were 2 parts to what Ophelia told him to do. "Kill every vampire he knows in New York City," Harry continues for me when my throat feels too tight to keep going. Then to kill himself when he was done. Cisco curses, the look in his eyes darkening. His hands curl into fists. "Aries? What the fuck could she have against him? I mean, he saved her, and Aries is the fucking best. Why?" Hurt people, I say quietly, brushing my fingers along Aries' cheek. And I can't help it. I lean in and press my lips to it next, then press my forehead against his, praying for everything to just go back to the way it was. Cisco curses again, glaring daggers in the direction of the other vault. "How long until he wakes up?" Harry asks. "Hours," I say. Elle wasn't very specific when she gave me the dart with her vampire toxin. But I see no harm in getting Ophelia to undo what she did while he's still out. Harry nods and walks out of the vault. I hear him open the one next door, and a few moments later, he reappears, Ophelia at his side. She's stiff as can be, her shoulders shrugged up to her ears. She looks terrified. Her eyes whip around the room, going from Aries' unconscious form to me to Cisco. She eyes him warily, taking a step away from him. "Look, I'm not gonna lay a hand on you, but this is some serious bullshit you've pulled," Cisco says. He doesn't look away once, his eyes intense and a little crazy. I've always thought of Cisco as a wild card, and he just reaffirms it to me every day. "You're gonna fix what you did, because Aries didn't fucking deserve this." Ophelia steps sideways, away from Cisco, and doesn't say a word. "Do you see him?" I ask, my blood turning boiling hot. "He looks like he's fucking decaying, Ophelia. This is the person I love with every damn fiber of my being, and you've turned him into something that he isn't. And I'm about to lose him. Ophelia, fix him now." She's shaking from head to toe. Her eyes are bloodshot, and fear is consuming every bit of her. Harry places a hand on the small of her back and pushes her forward. He doesn't push hard, not at all, but she stumbles forward. I shift on the bed, scooting to the side so that she can see more of him. She takes another step forward, her eyes locking on him. I watch her face as she approaches. There's wariness. She can see the injuries on him. I can practically see her thoughts spinning on it all. But I also see something like disgust in her eyes. "Fix him," I say darkly as I stare at her. Her eyes dart to me, And it's me she steps sideways away from this time. I don't even fucking care anymore that she's afraid of me. I don't know how to undo it, she says, her words rough. How did you tell him to do it before? I prompt. I just told him, she says. And touch. It seems more likely to work if I'm touching the person. Aries will still be out for hours, but I grab his hand and hold it out to Ophelia. It dangles, limp, just like he was dead, and I hate it. The look on Ophelia's face tells me that with everything in her, she does not want to touch Aries. But my eyes narrow at her and she steps forward. She takes his hand in her trembling ones. Stop killing vampires, she says, looking down at his unconscious form. And don't hurt yourself. Go back to the way things were before we last spoke. She lays his hand back on the bed and backs up a step. That's it? I question, raising an eyebrow. I don't know what else you want me to do, Lana, she says, a little attitude rising in her tone. That's how I did it. I don't know what you're expecting me to do when he's not even conscious. I glare at her, hating that this is where we are, and knowing it will never, ever go back to the way it was between us. I could never forgive her, and she so obviously has lost every ounce of respect for me. The sound of footsteps approaching draws my eye to the doorway. 5 seconds later, Florence steps into the vault, followed by Clementine. The moment Florence lays eyes on Aries, she sucks in a ragged breath through her nostrils. Her face pales. She tries very, very hard to keep her expression composed. She takes it all in. The cuts on him, the bruises, the furrow between his brows. Even unconscious, he doesn't look at rest. Florence's eyes flick up to meet mine. Thank you, Lana, she whispers, voice thick with barely contained emotion. Thank you for finding him. Always, I assure her, a solemn vow. Clementine watches the scene observantly, assessing every movement, every moment like it's all made of glass, which it is. Florence's eyes flick over to Ophelia, and she's always been a smart woman. Florence immediately figures out that it was Ophelia who did this to her brother. Something shifts in her expression. Before I realize what's about to happen, Florence crosses the vault toward Ophelia and slaps her across the face. The crack of the impact echoes through the vault. Ophelia staggers back, her hand flying to her cheek, her eyes wide with shock. A startled scream escapes her lips. You did this to my brother, Florence says, her voice quiet but cutting like glass. You turned him into a weapon and pointed him at people you decided should die. And then you told him to end his own life. The self-righteous are always the worst people in this world, and you've placed yourself in their ranks, you selfish coward. I've never seen Florence like this. She's always been powerful and intimidating, but gentle, warm. But right now, she looks like she could kill Ophelia herself. Suddenly, Aries stirs, and all our attention snaps back to him. A low, guttural sound escapes his lips, his fingers twitching. We don't have time for speeches for justice. Everyone out, I order. Cisco, Harry, wait outside. Cisco looks like he wants to argue, but one look at Aries and he just nods. We'll be right outside. Florence hesitates. Lana, you should... I'm staying. She clenches her jaw but doesn't fight me on it. A moment later, the heavy vault door shuts with a loud clang. It's just me, Ophelia, and Aries now. Aries' breathing is ragged, his muscles tense as he fights consciousness. Then his eyes snap open. My stomach drops. His pupils are blown wide, his expression feral. He lifts his head, sniffing the air, his gaze snapping toward the vault door. Cisco, he breathes. Harry. He moves, a blur of power and instinct, lunging for the door. I barely get out of the way in time. He slams his fists against the metal, the impact shaking the entire vault. His growl is animalistic, violent. He's not thinking. He's acting purely on the command Ophelia planted in his head. Fuck. Oh, fuck, it didn't work. Not even a little bit. Aries, I shout, standing and taking a step toward him. Look at me. Please, look at me. He doesn't. He doesn't even register my voice. He rakes his nails down the metal door, fingers splitting open from the force. But he doesn't stop. Blood smears against the surface, but he doesn't react to the pain. He just keeps going, desperate to rip his way out. It didn't work, Ophelia whispers. Her voice is small, shaking. I don't know how to undo it. Rage surges through me. Try again, I snarl. You don't get to say you don't know. You did this, so fix it. She stands there for a moment, her back pressed flat against the farthest wall. She's shaking from head to toe in terror, but she takes 2 breaths before she steps toward Aries. She grabs his hand as he tries once more to claw his way through the steel. Aries, listen to me. You don't want to do this. You don't have to do this. I'm telling you, stop. For a second, he freezes. His glowing red eyes turn on her, nostrils flaring. Then his lip curls. Ophelia, you hurt Lana, he growls, voice thick with disgust. She didn't deserve it. Ophelia flinches like she's been struck. She drops his hand when Aries lets out a roar and slams his shoulder into the door. I hear a snap as his collarbone buckles. His body is wrecking itself, but he doesn't feel it. He doesn't care. Focus, Ophelia, I say through clenched teeth. I feel like I'm on the verge of a panic attack. Watching the man I love unravel is horrific, and there's nothing I can do to help him right now. Try harder. What do you expect me to do? Ophelia asks, annoyed and scared. He's acting like a fucking lunatic. Because you made him that way, I snarl. Try again. Ophelia's jaw clenches and her eyes shift back to Aries. You're going to hurt yourself, so stop it now. You don't have to do this anymore, Aries. Just stop. But Aries just pounds his fist into the door, screaming for Cisco like he's possessed. Fuck, he's going to tear himself apart. I can't let him hurt himself. I don't hesitate. I pull the dart from my pocket, praying it has enough toxin left for a second dose, and lunge. Aries barely reacts before I jam it into his neck. His entire body jerks. He gasps, glowing red eyes locking on mine for just a second. Just long enough for me to see a flicker of recognition. The black veins sprout around his eyes, and he spasms in pain, a cry escaping his lips. Then he collapses. I drop to my knees beside him, my breathing ragged, my hands shaking as I push his hair back from his face. Tears slip down my cheeks. I finally have him back, but how the hell do we fix him? Lana, Ophelia starts. She stares at Aries with wide, terrified eyes, tears glistening in them. You didn't actually think about what you were doing to him? I snarl as I glare at her. About the fact that he is an actual person? That there would be consequences to taking away his free will? Her eyes meet mine, and tears slip down her face. I wait for her apology. She should be really damn sorry. But she never says the words. Try again, I snap. I haul Aries back to the bed, and I don't give a damn that she's seeing my newfound strength. I just don't fucking care what she thinks anymore. And I'm not even going to bother explaining. Me being a maid is her fault too, a direct consequence of her decision. Once he's positioned comfortably in the bed, I take his hand and hold it out to Ophelia again. She swallows once, noting the blood that is smeared over his hand. The split where he broke the skin is slowly knitting itself back together. She takes his hand, his blood staining her own. She stares at him for several long moments. She lets her eyes slide closed and inhales a slow breath. Aries, forget everything I told you to do. You don't need to kill any more vampires. You don't need to kill yourself. Things need to go back to the way they were before. I inhale to speak, but suddenly the door of the vault swings open. We've got a problem to deal with, Harry says, his eyes dark. I glance up at Ophelia, but Harry isn't waiting. He grabs her wrist, his touch gentle, and he leads her out of Aries' vault and out to the other one. I look down at my fiancé's sleeping form once more, but nothing has changed. So I climb to my feet and walk out after Harry. He's just closed Ophelia back in her vault when I step outside. He pushes the door to Aries' vault closed, and I look from Harry to Cisco to Florence and Clementine, searching for the answers as to what's going on. My security team just alerted me about a couple of vampires who have been in the city for a few days, Harry says, as he slides his hands into his pockets. Okay, why is that weird? Florence questions, her brows furrowing. They just asked to meet with the barons, he says. That grabs my attention. Nobody really knows about the barons. It's not exactly public knowledge that vampires exist in the first place, but that there is a board of powerful vampires in this city? The barons don't advertise their existence. We kind of have a lot of shit going on, I point out. I'm aware, Harry says, his tone slightly deadpan. I'd ignore the request normally, given what else is going on, but they're from Chicago. I wait for him to explain further, but he doesn't. And, I encourage, when it comes to supernaturals from Chicago, I don't ignore them, Harry says. Chapter 9. We end up at Harry's building, one we've met in before. We take the elevator up 4 floors to that elegant room with no windows. It's weird going to a Baron's meeting without Aries. We've always been a team. We've gone through all this together. But now I am one of them, all on my own. Sometimes life is so damn wild. Clementine practically forced Florence to go home with her. There was nothing they could do to help at the moment. They were only in danger of getting in the way. I saw them off with the promise to call when anything changed with Aries. When we walk into the meeting, my eyes immediately go to the 2 figures across the space. A man, tall, strong, tattoos rising from the knuckles of his right hand, all the way up his arm and reappearing on the side of his neck, quite similar to Aries' tattoos, except his left arm is clear of ink. Then there is a woman with him. She's not very tall, probably 2 inches shorter than my own short frame. But the striking thing about them is that they bear identically white hair. It's hard to describe. It isn't like the white of age, it's just pure and blinding. I'd almost wonder if they were siblings with how identical their hair is, but it's literally the only thing about them that looks similar. You asked to meet with us? Harry asks, getting straight to business as I'd expect. You know, we're pretty used to big cities. Chicago isn't small, but New York is really damn big. The woman speaks up, and somehow she sounds exactly like I expected. Spark and sass. So it seemed wiser to work smarter, not harder. Harry raises an eyebrow at the crass and bold woman. Names might be a good place to start. Sorry, she says with an amused chuckle. She steps forward, extending a hand. Juliet DeLuca, and my husband, Roman. For real? Cisco asks with a smirk. Roman and Juliet, married in real life. In the flesh, Juliet says with a smile that nearly rivals Cisco's. She shakes his hand, then turns and shakes mine. Harry Kim. He introduces himself as Roman shakes his hand. There's something wildly evaluative in Roman's eyes, like this guy should be on a SEAL team, not doing whatever it is he's doing in our city. Cisco, my friend introduces himself, though he doesn't offer his last name. Lana. I take cues from Cisco as I shake Roman's hand. He studies me with vivid, powerfully blue eyes. Yikes, the man is intense. Shall we sit? Harry asks, extending a hand toward the couches. Juliet nods and sinks onto one, Roman sitting beside her. He's stiff, vigilant, prepared. I thought Aries was intense, but he's a golden retriever compared to Roman DeLuca. I take one couch, sitting beside Cisco, and Harry takes the third. You asked to meet with us, Harry says, taking lead in an uncertain situation. I'd like to know how the hell you even knew about the existence of the Barons. We don't exactly advertise. Juliet leans back into the couch, crossing one leg over the other. There's something relaxed about her. Or maybe it's confidence, like she's untouchable, like she doesn't have anything in the world to worry about. And maybe that's because of her German Shepherd husband beside her? My best friend, Elena Godfrey, has been doing business in New York for years, she says. She met some asshole named Augustus who bragged about being a baron, said he ran this city. A sound of disgust comes from my lips. Did he try to proposition this Elena? I ask. He did, actually, Juliet says, raising an eyebrow to accompany her disgusted smirk. Said he'd prefer she were human. Said all kinds of other disgusting things. I take it you know Augustus? Knew, I answer with a sneer. He was going to be my father-in-law. My fiancé took him out for some other disgusting behavior. Glad to hear Karma is still doing her job, Juliet replies. Though I'm kind of surprised Elena didn't take him out herself. She's never had much tolerance for dicks like that. Anyway, that's how we knew about the Barons. I take it that's what the rest of you are? We're missing one other, maybe two, but Cliff's whereabouts are unknown at the moment, Cisco answers. But you've got the rest of us. Interesting how things seem to stay consistent without any kind of communication about it, Juliet says, and it looks like she's fighting a smirk. Juliet, Roman warns. They're practically the same, Juliet counters her husband. Don't, he says, unconvinced by his wife. I raise an eyebrow. It's okay, you don't have to tell us about your secret council of vampires in Chicago. Roman's look is deadly serious and utterly annoyed, but I just smile and shake my head. Look, we can all keep our cloak and daggers, but how about we get down to the reason you asked to meet with us? I press on. We were kind of in the middle of something. I like her, Juliet says as she holds my gaze. You're different, which is good and exciting, and you don't beat around the bush. A few years back, we had an issue in Chicago with a necromancer, Roman says, taking control of the conversation before I even have a moment to process what Juliet said. The man is even more direct than I am. Excuse me? I blurt. I blink at the beautiful man with white hair and icy blue eyes twice. Did you just say necromancer? I did, Roman confirms. Cisco swears, but Harry doesn't seem bothered. Not much rattles Harry. He brought a really bad man back from the grave in Chicago. Wreaked a lot of havoc. It was all under the direction of someone else, someone worse. In the end, we caught the bastard and determined that he didn't deserve to die, but we banished him. From the entirety of the United States, Juliet fills in details. We told him if he ever returned, there would be consequences. Roman crosses one ankle over the opposite knee. I have an extensive security team in Chicago, but my network runs wider than the city. A week ago, facial recognition scanners picked up his face at JFK. A day later, we caught him on some cameras in Manhattan. When you say necromancer, do you literally mean someone who brings back the dead? Cisco asks. I can see his thoughts spiraling. Like, they were in the grave, hard-stopped, dead. I mean, Marcus Lontoc brought back a man who had been dead for 5 years, Juliet says, her expression hardening. The man was bones and some hair, and then he was a fully restored man capable of horrendous things, same as he was before he died. Holy shit, Cisco breathes, shaking his head in disbelief. Any idea what he's doing in New York? Harry asks. We haven't been able to get much of any footage of him, Roman admits. I can't just hack into every camera in the city, but the little bit I've been able to get a hold of, it seems like he's looking for someone. Someone alive? I question. Because Manhattan isn't known for its graveyards. Bodies get hauled off the island elsewhere. There isn't enough room to bury people here. We don't know yet, Roman says. Like I said, we've been unable to get too much footage. Marcus has had some suspicious ties in the past, run with some shady people. We were hoping you might have some ideas what he might be up to. there's plenty of despicable people in this city, Cisco says, shaking his head. You're talking way too general right now. We're gonna need more to go off. I know, Juliet says with a nod. It's not much, but Marcus has to know that he's putting his life at risk. We made the ramifications of him coming back into the country pretty clear, so if he's willing to risk it, it isn't for something good. We were hoping we could get your help, your cooperation in finding the necromancer, Roman says. I can tell he doesn't like asking for our help, but I also see it in his eyes. He is not in his own city, and he knows it. There is only one of us who can really help out with this, and Cisco and I both look at Harry at the same time. Harry is quiet, evaluating Roman and Juliet. He isn't one to show his cards too quickly. He's cautious, measured. What will this necromancer's consequences be once you've got hands on him? Harry asks. Not what I was expecting. That's for us to worry about, Roman answers cryptically. Who in this city do we have to worry about being brought back from the dead? I ask, turning my brain back through the possibilities. Only about 1,000 mobsters, crime bosses, and assholes like Augustus, Cisco says in a deadpan tone. And who knows who else we don't know about. It's New York City. There's 8 million people who live here right now. And who knows how many bodies are hidden on this island. I don't much like those possibilities. What if it isn't nefarious? I mean, I can think of some people I would want brought back, and they're good people. My entire family is dead. Mom, Dad, my baby sister. I'd do just about anything to bring them back. Don't go down that rabbit hole, Juliet warns. Her eyes flick over to me, and I see something chilled in her eyes. It will drive you crazy, and only break your heart. Clearly, Juliet had the same thought at one point, and was let down. Who did she lose? Marcus needs to be dealt with, Roman warns. I don't expect you to reveal all of New York's shit to us. Chicago can't explain all of ours. But I hope you can trust us when we say it's not good that he's in your city snooping around. The three of us are quiet for several beats. It's a lot to process. By the day, we're getting confirmation that there are other beings out there who have supernatural gifts. They're good at hiding. While vampires are pretty easy to classify, you're either born or bitten, and with the oddball exception of me, a maid. These others can be, well, just about anything, apparently. So far, I've heard of a lightning wielder, now Ophelia with her influence, and a necromancer. Holy shit, the world is so much bigger than I ever thought. We can go to my main office, Harry says. I have access to cameras. It's up to the others if they want to do the same, but I'll give you access to all the cameras at my properties. Plus, I have access to some other networks. We'll do what we can to catch this necromancer. Thank you, Roman answers, and he sounds sincere. I'll get you access to mine as well. Cisco takes Harry's lead. Although I'm not as techy as Harry is, so you won't get as much coverage. We appreciate anything you can give us, Roman says with a nod. I'd give you access to the Hunt and Lonan properties, but my fiancé, the one who owns it all, is a little indisposed at the moment, I say, trying to keep my cards close to my chest. When it comes to protecting Aries, I will always exercise caution. That gets me an evaluative look from our white-haired newcomers, but neither says anything to that. We thank you for your cooperation, Roman says. If you don't mind, could we handle this as soon as possible? Harry and Cisco exchange a look. This is all really up to them. I can't help them out in this situation. But we were literally in the middle of something, and who knows how long we have until Aries wakes again. I want to be there when he wakes up. That doesn't mean Harry or Cisco have to be, though. I can give you an hour, Harry says. No more than that, though. Not right now. As we said, we've got some things going on. I'll take what I can get, Roman says with a nod. Let's go, Cisco says, apparently willing to operate in the same time frame. Lana, we'll meet you back at the vault. All right, I say, standing with the others. Mind if I hang out with you? Juliet asks, to my surprise, as we all head toward the elevator. I'm not a whole lot of help to Roman when it comes to this stuff. I guess, I answer cautiously. I'm really not sure what to make of this woman, but we all file into the elevator and ride the few stories back down to ground level. The moment we step out, all four of them slip on specialized sunshades. Out on the sidewalk, Roman pulls Juliet into his arms, pressing a kiss to her lips. "I'll see you in an hour," he says, and it sounds like a vow. Damn, I blush a little and look away. Is this how other people feel when they see Aries and me together? "See you soon, Lana," Harry promises, and his words sound pointed, as if he's reiterating to Roman that there is a short time frame he's committing. "See you in an hour," I say, nodding to the three men as they walk away. Juliet and I set out in the opposite direction. I'm not exactly going to walk all the way back to Brooklyn, but we might as well head in that direction. "You all are awfully active, considering it's the middle of the day," Juliet notes as she squints against the bright light. "I take it Chicago operates more fully during the night?" I question. She nods. "I mean, things still come up, and we deal with shit during the day, but we're definitely more nocturnal there." I nod. I'd never really thought about it before, that we're pretty flexible here. "Especially you," she says pointedly, looking over at me. I'm not wearing any sunshades. I don't need them. Let's just say it's better if you don't ask too many questions. I raise an eyebrow. She smirks at that. "Story of my life, babe," she says without skipping a beat. "Trust me, I know a little about not asking too many questions." I find a smile tugging on my own lips. I can't quite figure Juliet out, but there's something kind of familiar about her, and I think it's a little bit of myself I see. There's definitely something up with Chicago, isn't there? But for some reason, I feel like you wouldn't tell me. Suddenly, lightning flashes through my brain, and I stop in my tracks. Someone bumps into me from behind, granting me a curse, but I don't even notice. "Chicago," I breathe as Juliet stops and looks back at me with confusion. "Fuck. Ophelia is from Chicago." Juliet studies me with wary eyes, but she doesn't hide it well. She's keeping something from me. She knows something, but she doesn't know how much I know either. "I'm just figuring out that there are other things out there besides vampires," I blurt, instantly in a hurry to explain so that I can ask. "The necromancer, a lightning wielder, an influencer, and I'm not talking about the social media kind. There are a lot of other kinds of supernaturals in Chicago." Juliet's expression is filled with caution. I see a million thoughts roll through her eyes. And that is answer enough for me. I won't make her say it. I won't make her betray her city. "Look, I'm gonna extend some trust here," I say, talking rapidly. I start walking again, and she follows by my side. "My fiancé hasn't been himself for a bit now. He's been doing dangerous things he would never normally do. Turns out my former best friend, who really, really hates vampires, did something to him. She somehow used this supernatural influence she has on him and made him do these things against his will. And I just remembered that Ophelia is from Chicago." Juliet takes a second to process this information. I glance her way to see her gaze fixed on the crowd ahead, but she's not really seeing it. She presses her lips in a thin line, debating something. "What's her last name?" she finally asks. "Bennett," I answer. I've thrown all caution to the wind. I'm putting way too much trust in this woman I just met, but desperate times make people desperate. Juliet pulls a cell phone out from her back pocket. She taps the screen a few times, then holds it to her ear. She waits 3 seconds before someone picks up the other end. "Sigrid," she says. There's a comfort to the way she speaks. Whoever she's talking to, they're close. "I've got a question about someone. Do you know any of the Bennetts?" There's a few moments of silence while Juliet listens to the woman on the other end. "Does the name Barbara Bennett sound familiar?" Juliet asks me. "I'm pretty positive that was Ophelia's grandmother's name," I say, and my heart rate doubles. Juliet relays this information to Sigrid and continues to listen for a minute. "How about an Ophelia Bennett?" Once more, she listens. "Okay, thanks. Love you too." Maybe this Sigrid she was talking to is family. "Okay," Juliet says as she steps down the sidewalk, resuming our walk. Sigrid knew Barbara before she died, and yes, it sounds like she did have a supernatural gift. Did Ophelia's mom or dad have a gift too? I shake my head. I mean, Ophelia obviously never mentioned anything about gifts. Her mom was an addict who died when Ophelia was little. Her dad was a drunk who was never around. Ophelia's grandmother raised her for a while, but it wasn't a great situation. She never mentioned if her grandmother was particularly influential. Juliet shakes her head. It doesn't work that way, she confesses. You don't necessarily get the same gift your parent had. In fact, it doesn't really ever happen that way. She's revealing so damn much without really saying the direct things. But holy shit, it feels like my brain is expanding by the second. There are supernaturally gifted people out there, and it tends to run in families. And apparently, there are more than a few of them in Chicago. Have you heard of someone who could do something like this? I ask, speaking faster by the moment as my hope and excitement build. She just tells them what she wants or what she wants them to do. She said it tends to work better if she touches them. Not exactly, but similar, Juliet admits. She cringes a little, as if realizing how much she's revealing by the minute. Please tell me you're a good person, because somehow you've got me blabbing about things I never talk about, and I really don't want to have to kill you. This shit, it's important, and really secret. I shake my head. I have no desire to expose whatever secrets Chicago is keeping, so long as you're not doing shady shit there. I just want some help fixing my fiancé. Ophelia can't just undo it? Juliet asks, looking over at me. I shake my head. Not so far. But when we said we were in the middle of something, we were literally in the middle of this shit. Aries has kind of been on the run for the last few days, and I finally just caught him and brought him to where we can contain him. So we were just testing if she could undo what she did, but she's never tried to undo anything before. Shit, Juliet says, raising her eyebrows. That sounds like a damn mess. They haven't stopped happening lately, I say through gritted teeth. I know a little something about that, she says, and I can just hear it in her tone. She does, in fact, know. Do you think you could help me? I ask, hoping and praying she'll answer yes. So far, you know a whole lot more about this stuff than anyone else, including the person who did it. And I'm feeling really fucking desperate. Juliet looks over at me, caution in her expression. But I see it there. She's a good person. Complicated? Yes. But somehow you can just tell sometimes when someone is a person who is good at their core. And I can tell that about Juliet. Just try not to ask me too many questions, okay? She says, the conflict in her tone obvious. You get me talking too easily. I'll try, I say with a smile tugging at my lips. But don't expect me to be very successful. Juliet just chuckles at that and follows me down into the subway to head back to Brooklyn, where Aries is waiting in the vault. Chapter 10. Aries is still unconscious when Juliet and I arrive back at the vault. Thankfully, Harry thought to add me to the biometric scanner before I left earlier. Otherwise, we would have been sitting on our asses outside waiting for him to get back. I close the heavy steel door behind us, the familiar chill of the vault crawling up my spine. Juliet walks beside me like this isn't weird, like this maze of boxes hiding a vault isn't just a little crazy. She carries that kind of effortless, contained chaos, like she's constantly holding back a wicked punchline or something far more dangerous. The monitor outside the cell shows that Aries is still out cold. I hate seeing him so damn still, almost like he's dead. But I guess it's better than the alternative of him raging so violently to escape that he injures himself. His chest rises and falls in a slow, shallow rhythm. My throat tightens. "Home, sweet dungeon," Juliet murmurs behind me, and I glance over my shoulder to see her already stepping toward the second vault. She tosses me a look. "You mind if I chat with your girl? See what's ticking in that morally gray mind of hers?" I nod for her to go ahead, barely trusting myself to speak. As Juliet's footsteps echo throughout the warehouse, I fold my arms and study the screen. Aries looks like a shadow of the man I love, paler than he should be, smears of dried blood all over him, dark circles beneath his eyes. There's a gash above his brow, half healed, bruising on his arms, all self-inflicted. He'd been clawing to get out of here, and he hadn't even felt the damage he was doing to himself. It's hard not to let the what-ifs take over my brain. What if Ophelia can't fix him? What if I'd been too late finding him? What if Aries had gotten to Cisco? What if? I press my forehead against the monitor and close my eyes. What does a future look like for him like this? He'll wake up and feel the weight of everything, every life lost at his hands. The guilt will bury him alive. I can feel it, like a storm cloud waiting to crack open. Aries has always carried more weight than is his burden to carry. This might be too damn much, but it won't matter to him unless Ophelia can fix it. Fuck, I hope Juliet can shake something loose in her. I hope she can tap into some underutilized part of Ophelia's messed up brain and help her figure out how to unravel what she twisted. I'd offer up my own mind if it meant saving his. I flinch as the door to Ophelia's vault opens again. How many times did you do it? Juliet's voice is casual, even. I told him once, Ophelia replies, annoyed sounding. It's not like I kept repeating it. Juliet hums, unimpressed. One time's enough when you're a loaded weapon. You don't get it. You're fucking one of them. You're all dangerous. I wasn't just going to do nothing. There's a pause, then Juliet's voice, low and sharp. And what exactly do you think you are? Silence. There it is. Juliet has given it a name, what Ophelia has become. Her ability to influence is dangerous. Ophelia never looks my way. I don't know that we can ever look each other in the eyes again. She keeps her gaze firmly on the floor. I really didn't mean for it to go that far, Ophelia mutters. I guess I just didn't picture it so literally, or I thought he'd kill a few, maybe enough to scare others into leaving. You thought you could play God. Juliet's tone is flat now. No sarcasm, no humor. You don't undo this with a heartfelt apology. People are dead, and there are consequences to shit decisions. Messing with someone's mind. Juliet shakes her head, her disgust obvious. More silence. Then Ophelia, quieter. I don't know if I can undo it. I want to choke. I want to throw up. I want to scream. I really fucking want to punch Ophelia. Juliet clicks her tongue. Well, sweetheart, it's time to get experimental. Ophelia turns in my direction, though really it's more just toward the door. Her eyes flick up to me, but never actually meet my gaze. I place my hand on the scanner, and the door to the vault unlocks. Maybe I should worry about letting her in that prison cell with Aries. His blood is still smeared over the walls, and there's still damage throughout the space from when he was last awake. But this is her mess. I'll let her lay in it. Juliet pushes the door closed behind Ophelia, which is the safer option. She is a born, after all. If Aries does wake up and Ophelia doesn't fix him, she will be right in his line of sight. She's not happy, she tells me, sauntering up beside the monitor. But she's going to try again. I gave her some tips. Who the hell knows if they'll work? But it's worth a shot. Thank you, I say, keeping my eyes fixed on the monitor. Ophelia is looking at Aries like a puzzle that both terrifies and disgusts her. Lana, Juliet says, softer now, serious. If he wakes up and she can't undo it, what's your plan? I glance at her and feel like all of my internal organs disappear with her words. There is no plan, I admit, my words hoarse. There is no other option. We have to fix him. Juliet looks away, folding her arms and sighing. Then let's hope your twisted little friend has a redemption arc in her. I press a hand to the monitor again. Come back to me, Aries, I whisper, barely audible. Please, come back. The front door makes a grinding sound as it's opened. The sound of footsteps echoes throughout the warehouse as they make their way through the maze. A few moments later, Harry steps through first, followed by Cisco and Roman. But behind them is James St. Clair, Aries' right-hand man and assistant. He's about the last person I would have expected to accompany the group. His sharp gray eyes scan the room until they land on me. I don't expect them to narrow at me like they do. Lana, what the fuck is going on? He asks, His tone is sharp. I've never heard him be anything but in control and at the ready. "Where is Aries? What's wrong with him?" "James, He hasn't returned my calls. No one's seen him in days." James cuts me off, looking like he's about ready to tear the world apart. "This isn't like Aries." I didn't realize he cared for Aries so much. Cisco moves to intercept, a hand raised in caution. "James, things are complicated right now." James glares at him. "He's my employer and my friend. Complicated or not, I think at this point I have a right to know what's going on." Juliet crosses her arms, studying him with a cool detachment. Roman lingers at her side, silent and unreadable. I step forward, my voice tight. "He is here, James, but he's not okay." James' eyes flick to mine. "What does that mean?" Instead of answering, I nod toward the monitor. "See for yourself." James's gaze flicks to the monitor. The second he sees Aries, pale, his clothes torn, dried blood kicking his arms and neck, his brows furrow, and something grows dark in his expression. What the hell happened to him? But I don't answer because suddenly Aries moves. It's not much, his hand twitches, but my new sharp eyes don't miss much now. "Get Ophelia out of there," I say in a breath. Harry scans his hand, and Juliet yanks Ophelia out of the vault. Harry slams the door closed again as Juliet hauls Ophelia across the space, talking to her privately. On the screen, we see it as Aries' breathing speeds up, which sends my heart rate skyrocketing. Next, he takes in a sharp inhale, and damn it, I realize he's scenting the air. Then his eyes snap open. A low, animalistic growl rips through the speakers. Aries rises in a violent rush, body tensing like a loaded weapon. He hurls himself at the vault door, a furious blur. I flinch and instinctively take a step away from the door. "I can fucking smell you," he snarls. "Harry, Cisco, James, who else is out there?" He doesn't know Roman or Juliet, but he can scent them, and it's like he's turned absolutely feral. He slams his shoulder against the reinforced wall so hard it echoes like a gunshot. Again and again. He doesn't even wince. I'm not even sure his broken collarbone from earlier has healed yet, but there's no way it doesn't snap again in the next few seconds. "Shit," Cisco mutters. "He's worse than before." From her half-hidden corner, Juliet shifts her weight, one hand hovering subtly near the hidden dagger at her hip. Roman steps forward, tension rolling off him. They better stay put, or it's going to get ugly and violent in here. James is pale, horrified. What the hell is wrong with him? I step between him and the screen. "There was an incident. This woman, she was hurt by Augustus. He did bad things to her. And she, Ophelia, it made her hate vampires. Turns out she can do things." He blinks, like he didn't hear me right. "What?" Why the hell do I feel so nervous? I know James. Not well, but I've been around him plenty. He's Aries' employee. He's just some guy who works for my fiancé. So why is my heart pounding? Why am I worried about the look of fury in his eyes? "She got in his head," I say. I'd seen her do it before, but didn't realize to what extent she could do it. But she thought Aries was like Augustus. She thought all vampires were like him. So she told Aries to kill every vampire he knows in New York, and then himself. I don't mean to, but as I speak about her, my eyes naturally flick to Ophelia, where she is still speaking to Juliet. It's like watching a hurricane roll in. The look in James's eyes darkens. I see a muscle in his jaw twitch. His hands curl into fists. She fucking what? She just dug into his mind and turned on some command? Aries throws himself at the wall again. There's that sound, the one I've been anticipating. The sound of his collarbone cracking. I can't breathe. "He's going to destroy himself before we can fix him," Harry mutters. The look on James's face is ice cold. He turns to where he saw me looking. His gaze fixes on where she stands. I swear there's a sudden drop in air pressure. "You did this," he asks, his tone low. "You made a judgment? You messed with his head? You made a vampire hunt other vampires?" Ophelia stiffens, hands clenched. For a second, I don't think she can speak. She's so paralyzed with fear. But finally, her lips part just slightly. I didn't want to be afraid of living in New York anymore. Because as long as there are vampires, I'm not safe. Lana wasn't safe. He would never hurt her, James snarls. Just knowing him got her fucking kidnapped, Ophelia snaps. And oh, she is so stupid. James steps forward, a deadly look in his eyes. But Cisco steps between him and Ophelia, looking down at him with serious, fixed eyes. Take a breath, bro. James looks around the room like it's suddenly filled with strangers. The calm, composed assistant is gone. What remains is something lean and volatile. His breath is too fast. His hands tremble. When he speaks again, it's lower, guttural. You broke him. I honestly didn't know it would go this far, Ophelia says, voice cracking. Aries screams again. He's clawing at the vault door now, skin tearing open in long red streaks. He's frantic, rabid. James seethes. Everyone else exchanges wary glances. Neither Harry nor Cisco knows James well. He's always just been Aries' assistant that they'd see or hear from in passing. Roman is watching James with wary eyes, evaluating his every move. I look at James differently now. There's something off about him, something I've never seen in him until now. Not just anger, not just grief, something deeper, twisted, and I don't know what it means. The tension in the vault is a noose, tightening with every breath. Aries bellows again from behind the enforced door, pacing like an apex predator locked in a too small cage. Blood drips down his hands, his knuckles raw from pounding the walls in a frenzy. Juliet looks up at Ophelia again, her blue eyes narrowing. It didn't work, she says evenly, as if trying to smooth out the tension of the past few minutes. The hold is still there. James snaps. Then we kill her. That'll end it. I turn, stunned. What? If it cuts the threads, it's what we have to do. She deserves nothing less. James growls. His calm, collected demeanor is gone, shredded. What remains is something wild, feral. You kill the source. Juliet rises, sharp. I know from experience that killing a person doesn't guarantee their ties end with them. Trust me, do you really want to run that risk? Ophelia is trembling now, her shoulders rigid with fear, but her lip curls in defiance. You think I wanted this? You think I wanted him like that? It takes everything I have in me not to strike her. She wanted him dead. She told him to kill himself. And now she finally sees the reality of what she did, and it frightens her. Tell us the truth, Ophelia, I say, my words shaking with my restraint. You said you did this, but not alone. Who helped you? Ophelia's eyes flick between us, cornered. Her voice breaks. I don't know. Bullshit, James growls. Ophelia clutches her side, breathing fast. It was a woman, a therapist. She had a very specific specialty, helping people who had been hurt by vampires. Holy shit, Cisco mutters. That's a thing? Damn it, I had never really thought about it. That there were enough people out there who had been victimized by vampires that there would be a fucking therapist who specialized in helping the survivors. No wonder Ophelia hates vampires so much. She's seen proof that there are others out there that are hurting as much as she is. She helped me after Augustus, Ophelia continues. She made me feel seen, like I wasn't crazy. She understood. But she hates vampires too. She said we could reshape things. Juliet's expression hardens. What was her name? Ophelia's head shakes violently. I don't know, I swear. I don't remember what she looks like or where we met. She changed it every time. That doesn't even make sense, Cisco says, annoyed. Ophelia's eyes rip to meet his. I know. It was pretty fucking trippy. I can't even remember how I tracked her down. It's like she can pluck the details from your brain in real time. Her name, her face, where she's going to be. She scrubs it as she goes. My stomach turns. So how do we track down someone we can't even name? Silence. Roman turns toward Ophelia, his vivid blue eyes fixed intensely. You need to try again. Harder. Push deeper. If we can't find this woman to help you undo this, it has to be you. Find another path. I glance back at the monitor. Aries is still pacing, more erratic now. Blood smears the ground at his feet. Ophelia swallows hard and nods. She keeps a wary eye on every one of us as she steps forward. I almost feel bad for her. She's the only human in this space. She's surrounded by 6 vampires, plus the one locked up. But she's fucked up enough. I can't summon the sympathy. She walks up to the door of the vault and lays her hands against it. Aries, she calls softly. On the monitor, I see his head jerks toward her voice. With a roar, he slams his entire body against the door. It rattles, making a horrendous ruckus, but it holds. Aries, you have to stop this, Ophelia says. I notice the air feels colder, sharper. These are your friends, she says, and the sound of her voice is a little different. Something prickles on my skin. You don't want to kill them. You don't need to kill them. And I need you to stop hurting yourself. On the screen, Aries stills in the middle of the vault. He's breathing hard, deep, ragged. He does not look calm or himself, but he is still, at least. I look back at the others. Cisco looks so damn hopeful that he's about to get his best friend back. Harry is cool and observant. Juliet bites at her thumbnail nervously. But Roman's eyes flick over to James. James stares at Ophelia with so much hatred, it chills me. What the hell is going on? Keep going, you selfish bitch, James snarls, his tone low. Every vampire in the room looks back at him. Keep going, James says again. Ophelia squeezes her eyes closed and swallows hard. I want to yank James' throat out and throttle him. I think it's working, but he's just threatening her. What fucking good does that do right now? Aries, Ophelia says once more, flattening her palms against the hard surface of the door. It's over. You have to stop. Let what I told you to do go. The temperature of the room drops further. Something prickles along the back of my neck. On the monitor, I see Aries close his eyes. Holy shit, I think it's working. I want to encourage Ophelia, to tell her to keep going, but I don't dare break her concentration. You're free, Aries, Ophelia says, and her voice sounds different. It resonates, almost like a bell. It pierces my ears. I feel it down to my core. Do what you will. Something pulses through the air, and on the monitor I see Aries drop to his hands and knees. I'm holding my breath as I watch him, as I search him for any signs of change. He just stays there for several long moments, taking in a slow, ragged breath, and then another, smoother one. And finally, he lifts his head. His eyes are no longer glowing brilliant red. They're him, his beautiful, comforting hazel. He blinks, and his eyes flicker, as if surfacing from drowning. Lana? He calls out, his words haggard and confused. Cisco? I feel it in my bones. It's done. You did it, Ophelia. But we don't get 2 seconds to celebrate, to take it in, to process, because there is a feral snarl. I don't even see it when James darts forward, only when he slams into Ophelia from behind. You should be worshipping us on your knees, and you make us kill each other, he snarls next to her ear. I'm not even sure I heard him right, but the next second he's grabbed her by the back of her shirt. He yanks her back, flinging her across the warehouse like she's nothing but a rag doll. She hits the edge of the stairs with her ribs first, and then her head makes a sickening crack sound as it hits next. There's a blur of motion that bullets for the door in the same breath that Ophelia falls to the floor. What the hell just happened? I stand rooted for a second, trying to process Ophelia's unconscious form lying on the ground, and the empty space beside me where James was just a few seconds ago. The hell? Roman snarls as he crosses the warehouse, looking out the door. But James is gone. Holy shit, Juliet breathes as she rushes forward. With careful hands, she straightens Ophelia's limp form. There's blood smeared on the ground beneath her head. She needs a hospital, Juliet says as she checks her pulse. She's definitely got some broken ribs. There's the risk of a punctured lung, her breathing doesn't sound right, and she probably has a cranial fracture. Her eyes snap up to mine. If we don't move now, she might not make it. Roman, help me. I stand frozen, torn. Aries is still in the vault, dazed, barely upright. His eyes dart, lost. I want to run to him, but Ophelia. Roman lifts Ophelia gently. Juliet's hands are already covered in blood, but her voice is cool, sharp. Look, Lana, I'm an ER doctor. I'll keep her alive, but we have to go right now. I blink 5 times, stunned, confused. Thank you. And just like that, they vanish into the corridor. I turn back to the monitor. Aries sits on the floor, bloodied and broken, but here. He lifts his gaze to the camera. Recognition flickers. My heart stutters. He's back. Holy fuck, what the hell just happened? Cisco blurts, vocalizing the chaos we're all still a little stunned by. Aries, I say, pressing the button on the control to activate the voice comm. Lana, I hear him, my name coming out breathy and anxious. Where the fuck am I? What is going on? Instantly, my eyes sting. Shit, this is going to be so hard. How are you feeling, Aries? I ask. My voice cracks. I see Aries shake his head as he kneels on the concrete. Foggy, he answers honestly. A little fucking dazed. Vengeance, what's wrong? And here is why I would go to the ends of the earth for this man. His head is scrambled right now. He has no fucking idea what's going on. But he hears the emotion in my voice, and it's me he's worried about. You don't... I hesitate, unsure what to ask or how to ask it. I have to be so damn careful from here on out. Are you bothered by Harry or Cisco right now? He takes a moment to answer, confused by my question. Sorry, Vengeance, but what the hell is that supposed to mean? My eyes flick over to Cisco first, and then Harry. They're both taking my lead right now. If I open this door, are you going to do something violent? My voice breaks on the words again. Aries is quiet for a moment again. On the monitor, I see his eyes shift to the door. He takes in the streaks of dried and fresh blood there. He looks at his split knuckles. He rotates his shoulder, wincing. He's healing already, his vampire blood fixing what he broke. But I see it as he takes in the violence around him. He goes paler. What the hell did I do? He finally asks, his voice hoarse. Lana, why can't I remember how I got here? I glance at Cisco. I see it in his eyes. He doesn't want Aries to know either. He knows how much this is going to hurt him, the guilt he's going to carry, but there's no avoiding it. Cisco nods his head. Harry crosses to the scanner and places his palm on it. There's a loud clicking sound as the lock disengages. The door swings open, and thank the dark, Aries does not rush at Cisco or Harry. He stays kneeling on the floor of that prison cell, looking up at the 3 of us with a look of anticipation and absolute dread. Chapter 11. I step inside slowly. I don't know why. I'm not worried he's going to hurt me, but it feels a little like approaching a feral animal you aren't sure will accept your help. You're safe. You're at Harry's vault. Do you remember how you got here? He squints and his brow furrows. No. I kneel in front of him, close but not touching. He studies me like he's trying to determine if I'm real. Fuck, Vengeance. The way you're looking at me, he says, his expression tortured. Did I? You didn't hurt me, I assure him as I reach out and take his hand in mine. Not once. Some of the tension drains from his shoulders. He lifts a trembling hand and brushes it against my cheek. His fingers are healing, but the blood still clings beneath his nails. You look different. I smile faintly. A lot has happened. He nods slowly. I feel like my brain has been torn in half. That might be the toxin. I had to drug you, and everything else, you... Shit, I don't even know where to start. How do I tell the man I love what happened? Aries must sense my hesitance because he doesn't immediately ask for me to explain. You don't have to hide, Cisco and Harry. At the invitation, they both step inside the vault. They look ready in case Aries is still under Ophelia's influence, but not scared. Thankfully, Aries doesn't move from his place on the floor as they enter. Hey, Aries, Harry says evenly. You're all right. You're safe. That's what she said, Aries murmurs, glancing at me. A long pause stretches. Aries shifts his weight and grimaces. His healing is slower than usual, but steady. What the hell happened to me? I glance at Harry, then Cisco. Fuck, I really don't want to have to be the one to explain it, but I am his fiancé. They're just his friends. It has to be me. You've been acting off for a while now, I begin, returning to meet his gaze. Do you remember any of that? I see him racking his brain, searching his memory for the evidence of what I'm saying. Finally, he gives a small nod. You thought I was cheating on you. There's emotion in his voice, a crack, a fracture. My thinking that hurt him just as much as it hurt me. Only because you kept disappearing. You always had some place to be, but it wasn't always work. James confirmed that to me. And then we realized you were missing chunks of time. I continue. I see the shift in his eyes as he starts piecing little bits of it together, but he's more lost than ever. You came home in different clothes. There was blood under your fingernails, I say, diving into the darkness of it. And when I picked you up in Queens, and then Gio told us, this is so hard. How do you tell the love of your life that they've killed 5 people, maybe more? What did I do, Lana? Aries' words are little more than a breath of dread. Gio told us his son Luciano had been killed, I say, putting the first nail in the coffin. In Queens, and we started piecing it together. Any time any of these vampires had been killed, no one could account for your whereabouts. His eyes narrow, and he looks hurt. No, that's not possible. I wouldn't hurt Luciano. I haven't even seen him in years. Cisco steps forward. You weren't you, Aries. You were gone, man. For a while you were sometimes you, but it got worse and worse. Finally, you were just completely gone. We had to knock you out, twice. You didn't even recognize us. That's not... Aries presses his palms to his temples, breathing hard. I don't remember that. I remember... His words trail off as his gaze fixes on the floor. He blinks rapidly, like he's trying to clear the fog out of his brain. I don't know. I guess there are some flashes. Fuck. I definitely can't remember much of anything since I went and talked to Ophelia. Harry and I glance at each other, and I know I couldn't ask for a more perfect segue. That's because it was her, I say, my throat feeling thick. My stomach twists. I want to throw up or scream. The betrayal of it all still sears my soul. When the confusion in his eyes deepens, I press on. The signs were there, but at the time, I didn't know it was possible. But Ophelia has a supernatural gift. She can influence people. What do you mean? Aries asks, his voice rough, hints of anger leaking into it. I glance at Cisco, and we both take a deep breath. We've had time to process this fact, but this is the first time Aries is hearing about other supernaturals beyond vampires. Turns out, there are people who can do things. Things like telling you to do something, and you do it, even if you never would normally. Ophelia was angry when you went to talk to her, wasn't she? She was fucking livid, Aries confirms. His eyes darken. I tried to reason with her, to help, but she wouldn't hear a damn word of it. Turns out she wasn't happy with just trying to put you in your place. Cisco helps deliver the news I really don't want to share. She used this supernatural influence, and she told you to kill every vampire you know in New York. I squeeze my eyes closed and pray Cisco doesn't disclose the second part of what she told Aries to do. Thank fuck he keeps it to himself. No, Aries says, shaking his head. That's not possible. And I wouldn't ever do that. Augustus, he deserved what he got, but every vampire I know in New York? Hell no. Beth, Mike, Harry begins. I squeeze my eyes closed. This hurts. It's so damn painful. And it just makes it worse that it was my former best friend who could do this. Felix, Tom, Luciano. We don't even really know the full body count yet, Cisco says quietly. Cliff has been missing. We haven't found a body yet, but we're guessing you got to him too. Aries stares at us like we're speaking a language he doesn't understand. Then his face crumples slightly. The denial fractures. I pull his hand into mine, pressing a kiss to his palm. He doesn't fucking deserve this. He had no control. What Ophelia did... A tear dampens my eyelashes. I wipe it away before anyone can see it. You were hunting me when Lana finally tricked you into coming to her, Cisco says, the words tight. Even you? Aries asks in distress as he looks up, disbelief, grief, and shock painting his face ashen. Aries, look at me, I say as I place a hand on his cheek. Right now, in this moment, does any part of you want to hurt Cisco? His eyes are nearly frantic as he searches mine. No, he says with conviction. I nod. This, right here, right now, is you. Anything that happened before a few minutes ago was not you. From the time you stepped into Ophelia's apartment until just a few minutes ago, that was not you. You hear me? He stares at me, and he looks so desperate to believe me. But he literally has blood on his hands right now. Lana's right, brother, Cisco says. He crosses the vault and squats down beside Aries. He levels his gaze with him. You are not you. We saw little glimpses here and there. But I know you. We know you. The man we've seen the last 8 days wasn't Aries' hunt. That was Ophelia's Frankenstein puppet. Don't pick this weight up with you. You aren't responsible for it. Shit, I love Cisco. That was about the perfect thing to say. Where is Ophelia? Aries asks. And it says something about this incredible man. He doesn't ask it with malice or with vengeance. His words are hard, but they don't promise justice. In the hospital, I say, as something else twists in my gut. James showed up, and when he realized what happened, he made her pay for what she did. I don't know what her condition is yet. Aries holds my eyes, and there's too much compassion he's showing toward me. He knows what Ophelia meant to me. He can hear the conflict in my voice. But she is the one who did this to him. What about Gio? Aries asks, moving on. His voice sounds hoarse. Why isn't he here if the rest of you are? I look at Cisco, then Harry, and they look at me in response. Gio's gone, but that wasn't on you, Harry says. He extends a hand to Aries, who takes it, and he pulls Aries to his feet. We're here for you, whatever you need. But you seem like you're yourself again. You and Lana have a lot of shit to talk about. Only she can tell it. Aries looks over at me, and I see him really looking. He's woken up to a lot of shit being different, but he's noticing the actual physical differences in me. Come on, we need to get you home, I say, taking his hand, even as I reach into my back pocket for my phone. I call Billings, who answers after just one ring. I ask him to pick us up, and he reports he'll be here in 2 minutes. Apparently, he's been waiting close by, anxious to figure out what's going on with his boss. We have a lot of weird shit to deal with, Cisco says. But I think you deserve the rest of the day. Reset with your girl. And then all of us can meet back with Juliet and Roman. And then figure out what the hell that was with James. What does James have to do with any of this? Aries questions, his brows furrowing. And who are Juliet and Roman? I'll explain it all, I say, tugging Aries to the door. But I'd really like to get out of here. I don't know if I can stand it another second in this place. We step out into the daylight, Aries squeezing his eyes closed against the brilliant sunlight. Right on cue, Billings pulls up to the curb. Aries is essentially blind as he casts a wary glance at Harry and Cisco, both of whom have slipped on sunshades. They simply give a reassuring nod, and Aries climbs in behind me into the black SUV and closes the door behind him. I immediately grab the sunshades from their storage spot in the vehicle and hand them to Aries, who puts them on. "I'm relieved to see you looking more like yourself, Mr. Hunt," Billings says as he signals and pulls onto the road. "Thanks," Aries says, still sounding confused and a little baffled. It's a quiet drive as we cross the Brooklyn Bridge and head back to the Upper East Side. Because the fewer people who know about everything that just happened, the better. For Aries, I will do anything I can to protect him. And even though Billings is a vampire and has been Aries' driver for years, he doesn't need to know all of these terrible, dark details. I need to call Florence. I need to tell her that her brother is back. But for some reason, I can't right now. It all feels too fragile, too fresh. I vow I will call her soon, but it won't be right this second. So I simply take Aries' hand and rub reassuring circles into the back of it with my thumb. Aries stares out the window. I can feel the turmoil, the confusion raging around inside him like a hurricane. It's all coming. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be hard. But I'm right here. Finally, we work our way through the traffic, and Billings stops on the side of our building. Aries and I climb out, and we enter the lobby of our building. Our favorite doorman, Laz, gives me a relieved nod when he sees Aries and I walk in together. I had him on alert for if Aries came home, though I didn't give him any of the details. We take the elevator up to our floor, and I unlock the door. I feel this weird sense of stressed relief when we step inside the penthouse. We're home. This space feels like home in every sense of the word now. But we have so much ahead of us to work through, I can't exactly feel relaxed. I click the button on the remote, which closes the window coverings, leaving the penthouse washed in darkness. "I need a shower," Aries states when we walk in. I give a nod and watch as he goes back to the bedroom. I'm really damn glad he suggested it, that I didn't have to ask him to go shower. But the sight of him, with his own blood smeared all over him, isn't something I can handle. Once upon not so long ago, the sight of blood would throw me into a panic attack. After seeing my mother and sister after they were murdered, their blood splattered across our apartment, the trauma ran deep. Being with Aries has cured most of that. But as I see his blood, as I think about what it means, once more the world threatens to close in on me. I force a breath in, closing my eyes. I won't let the world spin out on me, though. I won't. I don't have time for that shit. My insides are starting to feel like tar, and there's something burning in the pit of my stomach. I cross to the fridge and pull out one of the blood bags Florence brought for me. I bite into the plastic bag, and I suck. Hell, why does this taste so good? It's mind-boggling. This cold, coppery liquid is one of the best damn things I've ever drank. And miraculously, by the time I reach the bottom of it, I'm satisfied. I feel it wash through my body, feel the cells in me regenerate. That sensation of perfect stasis, of being absolutely balanced, courses through me. I close my eyes and let it course through my entire body. How is Aries going to feel about this? What happened to me? The decision Florence made. What it means for my future. The fact that I now require blood every single day. It isn't an option. If, for some reason, I don't have access to donated blood each and every day, I'm going to have to go out and feed live. Shit, I haven't really thought about that part yet. I could feed on a live person, grab someone off the street, sink my fangs into their neck and take a few pulls, the same way Lawrence bought me and fed on me in his basement. Stars, I suddenly feel like the same kind of monster, except the amount of blood I require is minuscule compared to how much a Born requires. When did the world go and turn so fucking upside down? I ignore all of that, though, and I finally call Florence. I tell her what happened. I tell her that Aries is himself again. She wants to rush right over, but I beg her to give it a little bit of time. The hard part isn't over yet. "I'm glad he has you, Lana," Florence says, her tone serious and heavy. "You have no idea how good you've been for him, in every way. Let me know when he's ready." "I will, I promise." I hear the water turn off in the shower. 2 minutes later, I wander into the living room as Aries walks down the hall. He's wearing some black sweatpants and a white t-shirt that clings to his still damp chest. Good grief, he's so damn beautiful. I take his hand and pull him to sit beside me on the couch. He looks clearer, so much more himself. I still see worry, frustration, anger crease little lines at the corners of his eyes, but I see clarity there. He's finally himself again. "I want you to walk me through it, Vengeance," he says, never once looking away. "All of it. Don't spare me any of the details." "Okay," I say with a hoarse voice. And so I do. I begin with the morning he went and talked to Ophelia. I point out how Tom didn't show up to work. We work our way through his odd behavior. Aries never even realized he was behaving oddly toward the others, that I was worried about what he might do to them. But one at a time, I share the details of how that zombie version of him went after any vampires he knew. I tell him how I began to realize that the Steele family had gone through a similar experience with the uncle, how Cisco and I pieced it together that someone had done this to Aries, that he wasn't being himself. Aries listens to it all with his lips set in a thin line. He asks for clarification. He shares when he had no fucking idea what he was doing. Aries doesn't seem to remember much of anything at all since he went and talked to Ophelia. "She did this?" Aries asks. "She just told me what to do, and I fucking did it?" he asks in baffled annoyance. I nod. Turns out there are other gifts out there besides being immortal and being incredibly fast and strong. Apparently, Ophelia has known she could do this since she was a teenager. It's not consistent, but it works often enough. Guess she hates vampires enough to lose her damn sense of conscience. Aries shakes his head, staring down at his hands like they don't belong to him. Because for a while, they didn't. And then there was Luciano, I say, my throat feeling thick as we work our way through it. When Gio found out what happened, I swallow once. I was at Florence's, and fuck, I don't want to have to tell him any of this. I want to magically erase all of it, to reset and recorrect. But there is only one way through this, and it's with the truth. He came after me, said it had to be a life for a life. Aries tenses, his jaw locking. "He touched you?" I nod once. He sliced me open, from navel to sternum. I didn't even have time to scream. Aries jerks back like the words physically strike him. "Lana." "It was bad. Really bad," I say, voice wavering. "I was dying, and Florence made a decision." He looks at me sharply. "What decision?" I hold his gaze for a few seconds, and I see it as he starts piecing it together. He knows what he can see with his eyes, what he can smell. I am different. I swallow. "You know what she's been researching, what she's been trying to create. Has she ever actually explained the regenerative ability of it all to you?" His breath catches. His grip on my thigh tightens. Panic sharpens his eyes. "Florence tested it on you?" "She saved me, Aries. I was bleeding out. She was literally trying to put my intestines back in my body. I was gutted. No hospital could have put me back together. There was no surgery that could have saved me," I say, and I hate the words. I don't want to describe this for Aries. It will haunt him forever. But I can't have him doubting Florence's decision. I can't let him resent her for saving me. I need to make him understand the reality. Nothing but Florence's miracle could have saved me. His hand shakes. It takes a lot of turmoil to make a born vampire's hands shake. I watch him try to hold it in, but he can't. His fingers rise, running both hands through his hair as he takes in a shaky breath. "Holy shit, Lana." Listen to me, I say as I shift. I lift a leg over his, coming to kneel with my knees on either side of his hips. I settle into his lap, forcing his gaze to my eyes. I'm okay. I feel okay. Better than okay. It worked. The regeneration, the blood, my body rebuilt itself in real time. Aries, I don't age anymore. I don't scar, and I can't be killed, not easily. I'm stronger, I'm fast, and sunlight doesn't even bother me. Aries turns, looking at me like I'm something he doesn't deserve. Lana, I can't believe I let this happen to you. No, I say, grabbing his face in both hands. You didn't let anything happen. None of this is on you. I was supposed to be here, Aries, in this world, with you. He closes his eyes, leans into my touch, but I feel the guilt simmering under his skin. If I hadn't lost control, if I hadn't killed Giovanni's son. Stop. I say it firmly, cutting through the spiral. You didn't choose that. It wasn't you. And if you keep trying to take the blame, if you let guilt win, it'll hurt me. It will eat at us. His eyes fly open, and the look on his face, like I just hit him with truth so deep, it carved its way into his bones. I know I'm fighting dirty right now. I know Aries will do anything for me, even ignore his own pain. But I can't stand that look in his eyes. I can't bear to see him in such agony. I don't know any other way to save him from himself right now, other than to weaponize myself against him. Can you let it go? I ask softly. Can you move forward with me? Because I need you. I need you, not the man buried in shame. I've missed you so damn much. The ache in his eyes makes my breath hitch. He lifts a hand, cupping my cheek like I might slip away. I can, he says. For you, I will. I don't wait another second. I crash into him, our mouths finding each other with a desperation that's been building for what feels like years, even if it's only been 8 days. His arms wrap around me, tight and possessive, pulling me flush against him like he'll never let go again. Aries climbs from the couch, pulling me up with him. I'm ripping his shirt off without thought. He unbuttons my pants and shoves them down my hips. In a matter of seconds, he's completely naked, and I'm down to nothing but my underwear. Our lips have hardly broken apart, though. His skin is hot when Aries' hands come to my hips, and without any effort, he grips them, lifting me clean off the ground. His lips are savage as he takes possession of mine. My body is a raging inferno of heat as I wrap my legs tightly around his waist. My nipples harden, and I press them into his bare chest. Roughly, I feel him finger my panties. He tugs them to the side, and the heat of his head is instantly there. A devious smile comes to my lips as I look down at him. His eyes are burning with the rage of desire. And then he crosses the room. The cool surface of the wall flattens my back as he presses me into it and thrusts inside of me. I'm never going to get sick of this. Aries fills me completely. He fits against every bit of my body. He knows exactly every place of my body to touch to send me higher and higher. I'll never get tired of touching him, letting my fingers run over every inch of his tattooed skin, memorizing every rise and fall of him. My back presses into the wall as he presses harder into me. The contact between my legs makes my head spin. Aries buries his face in my neck. He licks my skin, nips it with his teeth. A hot breath leaves my mouth as I tip my head back to the wall. Aries kisses his way across the front of my throat, one of his hands coming up to cup my breast. I squeeze him tighter with my thighs. I feel it rising, like the tide, like a tidal wave. It sucks out to sea, and at any moment it's going to come crashing back to shore, obliterating everything in its path. Both of my hands rise to lace into Aries' hair. My breath is heaving now, my chest rising and falling, pressing my breasts into his chest. Aries meets my eyes as he thrusts inside me, sharp and quick. I hold his gaze as I grind my hips against him. I love you, Lana, he growls as he slides in and out, his pace intensifying. My brain is blissed out. My body is a coiled bomb waiting to go off. But it's as easy as breathing when I confess the words, I love you too. And I don't stifle my cry as the orgasm crashes into me. I let it rip out of me with every intense pulse. I call out for the entire world to hear if they want. It's the best feeling in the world, this with Aries. For a while, I wasn't sure I'd ever get to be with him like this again, but it's the best thing in the world when I watch his expression intensify, and then he calls out my name as he comes inside of me. Every muscle in his body so tight he could snap me in half if he weren't careful. We fall back onto the couch, tangled and breathless, and he groans against my skin like worship, like punishment, like salvation. Mine, he murmurs, voice cracked and reverent, over and over like a vow. We lie tangled on the couch, our skin still slick with sweat, the city a soft hum beyond the glass. Aries' hand rests on my waist, the pads of his fingers tracing slow circles against my side, like he's afraid to stop touching me, like I might vanish. He shifts slightly, propping himself up on one elbow to look down at me. The shadows stretch across his face, catching in the angles of his jaw, in the hollows of his eyes. But there's no darkness there now, just wonder. You're different, he murmurs, even just to the touch. Your skin, it's warmer, denser, maybe. Like you're made of lightning instead of flesh. I laugh, soft and breathless. Lightning, that's a new one. He brushes a strand of hair from my cheek. Your heart, it doesn't beat like it used to. Slower, quieter. But it's so fucking steady. I feel his reverence. It's as if he's cataloging me, like I'm something rare, like a secret he gets to keep. Then his face shifts. A shadow creeps across it, more grief than awe. I'm still not sure how I feel about what Florence did. She saved you, yeah, but she also made a choice for you, one that can't be undone. I nod slowly. I know, but I don't regret it. I didn't feel like I was losing myself, Aries. I felt like I was stepping into who I was always meant to be. His throat works on a swallow. I lean into him, pressing my forehead to his. You want to know what it feels like? He nods. I feel awake. Constantly, like every cell in my body is humming. My vision is sharper. I hear things I didn't even know made sound. I don't get tired. I don't feel cold or hot. His brows lift slightly, but he says nothing, just watches me like I'm the answer to a question he didn't know he was asking. There's blood in me now, but it's not hunger. It's power. It fuels everything. The regeneration, the energy, the strength. I'm not like you, I say gently. I wasn't born from a curse. I was made, engineered, a different kind of forever. His mouth parts like he wants to say something, but no words come out. Instead, he leans down and kisses the spot just beneath my collarbone. Then another, and another. His lips skim down to the curve of my breast, the center of my sternum. My miracle, he murmurs. Lower to the ridge of my hip bone. My death and my resurrection. I thread my fingers through his hair as he kisses lower still, reverent and slow. I would have walked through fire for you, he whispers against my skin. But now, I think you are the fire. His mouth worships every inch of me like I'm something holy, and I let him, because I am his miracle, and he is mine. Chapter 12. She's in bad shape, Juliet says as we step out of the smoothie shop. With a cup in either hand, we both walk out of the busy store and cross to the table outside. Damn, if it weren't for the difference in hair and eye color, Aries and Roman look like they could be brothers. The broody expressions, the tattoos, they're both tall and built like they grew up in an MMA arena. I extend Aries' smoothie to him and sink into the seat beside him. He takes it, though he doesn't immediately set into it. He's been fairly quiet since we met up with Juliet and Roman 20 minutes ago. I've caught Aries up on all the details of their presence in the city, including the impossible reality that there's a necromancer around. He's still processing all of that information. And that was after Florence and Clementine came over this morning. I've never seen Florence cry before today, but her relief at having her brother back was overwhelming. Guess that's what happens when you're the only blood family each other has left. The internal bleeding was extensive, Juliet continues as she sits beside Roman. She broke 5 ribs, she has a skull fracture, and she was definitely concussed. She's probably going to be in the hospital for 2 weeks. My throat is tight. It feels like there's a barb wedged in it. Is she conscious? Juliet nods. Yeah, they worked on her for about 2 hours, and she woke up a few hours after that. So she's going to live, right? I ask. My words sound funny. They're too strained, too tight, too emotional. Juliet studies me. She's still trying to get a feel for the situation and everything going on here. She is. I nod in relief, looking around at the bustling city around us. I don't know how we'll live in the same city together after everything that's happened. I can't forgive her for what she's done. She'll hate vampires even more now after James lost his damn mind like that. New York was her dream, but it's always been my home. Juliet reaches across the table, laying her hand over mine. Relationships are complicated. Sometimes you think you know someone, and it turns out you don't. Who betrayed Juliet? What's her story? When people put your city at risk, you don't let them stay, Roman says. He, like the other 2 born at this table, is wearing some serious sunglasses that mean business. He's already difficult to read. Having his eyes obscured makes it even harder. Sounds to me like Ophelia needs a change of scenery. I don't think I can just kick her out of Manhattan because we're in a fight, I say, my eyes narrowing at Roman. It's a hell of a lot more than a fight when someone goes and roots around in another person's mind and makes them kill others, Roman says, his brows gathering. That was an outright declaration of war. He's right, Juliet says cautiously. Someone who could go to that kind of extreme is dangerous. You can't let her stay in the same city you live in. We could send her back to Chicago with you, Aries says, and there's a tiny hint of a smirk pulling on one corner of his mouth. We have rules in Chicago, Roman says with a shake of his head. Ophelia no longer fits the bill of qualification. She's not coming into Chicago ever again. This feels wrong. Talking about kicking Ophelia out of an entire city feels wrong. And it feels wrong to be so torn about this. What she's done is unforgivable. I can't ever forget what she's done to Aries, and how, because of her choices, her reactions, I'm not even human anymore. But still, it's her life I'm talking about upending. She might be in danger of staying anyway, Juliet points out. James seemed a few levels beyond livid when he found out what she did. Who's to say he won't try to finish the job? Aries shakes his head. I still can't believe James reacted the way he did. He's always been so collected, in control. I've never seen that side of him. I have a weird feeling about this, Aries, I admit aloud. Something was up with his reaction. Do you really feel like you know much about him personally? You work together all the time, but what about who he is outside of work? Aries rubs 2 fingers over his lips, thinking. James is pretty tight-lipped. He's just come across as being professional, but maybe he didn't talk much about himself for a reason. Have you spoken to James since you came back around? Roman asks. Aries shakes his head. I'm taking a step back for a minute from work, but it sounds like I might need to check in with James. He pulls his phone out, even as Roman nods in agreement. Something hooks in my gut, something uncomfortable and cold. The anger in James' eyes, the violence as he lashed out at Ophelia. Aries is right. I've only ever known James to be a cool professional. But it was as if he took what Ophelia did personally. Why? Straight to voicemail, Aries says as he hangs up. I don't like it, but it isn't necessarily an admission of guilt. Roman studies Aries, and I see cool calculation there. Roman is so damn intense, and I just know he's got 1,000 dark thoughts swirling through his head right now. Keep an eye on him, Roman says. But I wanted to ask, now that you're you, this necromancer we're looking for, it's going to be nearly impossible to find him if we're just searching in person. I'm going through facial recognition scanners, but my access in this city is limited. Harry and Cisco have given their help in finding this bastard. I was hoping that you might be on board, too. Aries studies Roman for a moment. I don't blame him for his hesitation. He wasn't there when Juliet and Roman first explained that there's a damn necromancer poking around New York City. It can't feel real to Aries. Turning over access to his security camera system is a big deal. Aries looks over at me, searching my expression for answers. And it means everything that Aries trusts me this fucking much. Aries is a powerful man, one of the richest in this country, and he's asking me, Lana, a nobody who grew up with nothing, what I think. The things this man does for my confidence. I simply nod. I can arrange that, Aries says confidently and immediately, looking back at Roman. Should we get going on it? I think that would be best, Roman says, a slightly relieved expression settling onto his face. All four of us rise from our seats and head out in the direction of Aries' office. So, how long have you and Roman been together? I ask Juliet as we walk through the city. Roman and Aries are discussing security details and seem cool and collected enough about it. Juliet makes a noise as if to signal she's thinking. 10 years? She finally comes to the conclusion. Wow, that went fast. It honestly feels like yesterday when my best friend had to tell me I was in love with him. You couldn't tell? I question her with an arched brow. Juliet lets out a chuckle. Roman and I didn't exactly like each other when we first met. In fact, I was pretty positive he was going to kill me on more than one occasion, which is really crazy because Roman says he knew I was it for him way, way before I did. Sounds complicated, I remark. I dated my best friend's brother and then was engaged to a psycho who stalked me, all within the span of a year before Roman and I got together, she says. No shame, all ridiculous shock factor. She even wears a smile. I can't help but laugh. There's something easy feeling about Juliet, but easy isn't the right word necessarily. I can tell Juliet is a woman who's made mistakes in the past, but she doesn't hide them, doesn't pretend they aren't there, but it makes her relatable. Well, you obviously figured it out, I say as I watch Roman and Aries ahead of us. Roman is constantly watching you like you're the center of his whole universe. That's funny. I could say the same thing about you and Aries, she says with a smirk as she meets my eye. How long have you two been married? Engaged, I correct her, even as I hold my hand up, taking in the gorgeous ring on my finger. I've still never taken it off since Aries placed it on my finger. 6 weeks, though we've been pretending to be engaged since the first day we met. Lana, Juliet remarks, looking up at me from beneath her eyelashes with a smile. A fake engagement. Color me intrigued. Were you this when it happened, or still human? To anyone else in the vampiric world, this would be a big fucking deal. My changed species status would shift most vampires' perspective of reality. This would be dangerous, but to Juliet, this doesn't even faze her. What the hell is really going on in Chicago? Human, I chuckle. I walked into a vampire party looking for Ophelia. She'd been missing for 3 weeks. Aries saw how stubborn I was being and offered to team up since his path somewhat aligned with mine. And, well, a few weeks later, I knew I couldn't live life without him. Aww, Juliet says, part sarcastic, part genuine. I love every bit of it, except that you went in to save Ophelia? The one who jinxed Aries? Wow. I know, I say with a sigh. Just then, Aries pulls open the door to his office. Roman turns back, placing a hand at the small of Juliet's back, ushering her through first. I cast a look at Aries as I step inside. He doesn't seem stressed or on edge or angry, so I'm guessing his conversation with Roman has gone well. We all step up to the elevator, and Aries presses the up button. Despite the fact that I've come to this building plenty of times since it's Aries' main office, I've never stepped foot on any floor other than 39. It's never even crossed my mind to consider what else is in this building. The elevator slides open, and the four of us shuffle inside. A few moments later, after rocketing skyward, we step out onto floor 38. I blink 4 times. There is a small space, black walls, dark gray carpet, and one singular door ahead. Aries steps forward and punches a series of numbers into the keypad. We step into a space that looks like it's straight out of a science fiction movie. It's dark, but we're surrounded by 1,000 little green, blue, and red lights. There is a woman sitting at a desk facing a wall of monitors. The rest of the walls are lined with high-tech looking equipment. "Shauna," Aries greets her. "Would you mind giving us the room for a while? You can grab some coffee or something." He takes a $100 bill from his pocket and hands it to Shauna. "Thanks, Aries," she says, a grin taking over her face. She keys in a few commands, logging off duty, and rises from her chair. She exits without saying anything further. "What the hell is this place?" I ask, looking around like I've stepped into another dimension. Aries looks back at me, his brows knitting slightly. "My security center. I have a few properties in this city. There are a few security cameras set up for them." "I'm pretty sure you're monitoring all of Manhattan with this setup," I gape as I turn around, taking it all in. "I thought Harry was high-tech." "Harry's operation was at least 3 times this," Roman remarks. Juliet smacks him in the chest, rolling her eyes. I simply shake my head, my brows rising. Aries gives a little smirk, clearly enjoying that he's surprised me. "I hope you're tech-savvy, because there's a reason I employ Shauna," Aries says as they turn to the computers. "One of the perks of being immortal," Roman says as he takes the seat Shauna vacated. "We have forever to learn new tricks." I'd never thought about it from that angle before, but born vampires are immortal. The world is going to change around them. Technology is going to change. Adaptation is kind of a must. "How long has Roman been a vampire?" I ask quietly as I lean into Juliet, even though I know Roman is going to hear me asking. He's busy at the moment, tapping away at the computer. 35 years, Juliet answers. I make a slight sound of disappointment. "And you?" "I'm forever 29, baby," she says. "But I've been that way for 11 years now." I say, folding my arms over my chest. I keep hearing this word immortal when it comes to vampires, but so far, the oldest one had only been immortal for 80 years. I mean, that's pretty old, but honestly, not that impressive. "That psycho I said I was engaged to?" Juliet says as she looks over at me. "He was 119 when we met. Is that more impressive?" I lift an eyebrow and tilt my head. "That's a little better. Did that ever feel gross, though?" "I'd rather not talk about Sebastian," she says, shifting her weight from one foot to the other, sliding her hands into her back pockets. So, it was her former fiancé who betrayed her. Ouch, I don't press anymore. "Okay, we're scanning," Roman declares as he pushes back from the keyboard just a little. Up on the screens, dozens of video feeds start scrolling at a high speed. There's a little green square in each one, scanning faces. It's all moving rapidly. Technology can be amazing sometimes. "It's really scanning all this footage at once?" Aries questions, his intense eyes never leaving the screens. "Yep," Roman confirms, a small, controlled smile on his lips as he watches his work. He's proud of what he's done here. It's pretty wild. There are 8 million people who live in New York City. Roman is trying to latch onto the face of one of those people. It sounds impossible. There's a beeping sound, and one of the screens freezes. Before my eyes can even latch on to what's changed, there is another beeping sound, followed by a third. "Got him," Roman says as he leans in, his gaze fixed on the screen. "That's the necromancer?" I ask, my eyes flicking from one screen to the next. "That's Marcus," Juliet confirms with a nod. He's so average. If I were to pass him on the street, I would just walk right on by him. Ethnically ambiguous, he's neither handsome nor ugly. He's average built, the way he dresses doesn't stand out. I'd guess he's in his younger 30s. Wait a fucking second, Aries says as yet another screen locks in on a still image of Marcus, the necromancer. These. Aries licks his lips and shifts his stance, his eyes boring into those screens. Every one of those buildings is a building I own. What the hell? I balk, my brows furrowing as I focus on the buildings more. Sure enough, I recognize two of them. Roman turns and looks at Aries with confused, surprised eyes. All 5 of these separate buildings? Aries nods. 2 of them were mine before, 3 of them I inherited from my father. This doesn't seem like a coincidence, Roman says, his gaze shifting back to the screen as yet another hit pops up. Holy fuck, I say, taking a step forward. That's James. And indeed, not only is Marcus on the screen, but beside him, obviously talking to him, is James St. Clair, Aries' assistant. That can't be a coincidence either, Roman says darkly as his eyes slide to Aries. What the fuck? Aries breathes, leaning in closer. He watches as the frames of the video jump forward. It isn't a smooth video, it's only 2 frames per second, but it's clear as day. That's James talking to Marcus, the 2 of them walking down the sidewalk together. I don't think we have any clue who the hell James really is, I say coldly. And I've trusted my entire portfolio to him, Aries says, his tone hard. What if whomever Marcus is looking for is tied to one of your buildings? Juliet says. I feel my body go cold, chilled all the way through. What the hell could that mean? And who the fuck would they be looking for? I need some answers from James, Aries says darkly. He straightens. And since he's not been honest with me, I'm not going to go asking nicely. You up for a little B&E, Roman? Lead the way. Chapter 13. The elevator hums as it carries us to the 29th floor. None of us speak. The silence hangs heavy, thick with anticipation and the strange twitching energy that always seems to settle when you know you're about to find something you won't be able to unsee. Roman stands closest to the door, arms folded over his chest. His jaw is locked, sunglasses still in place despite the dim interior lighting. Juliet leans into the corner, chewing her lower lip in thought. Aries is stone beside me, fingers flexing and curling like his body wants to fight, but his mind is still catching up. The elevator dings softly, and we step out into a hallway that looks like every other high-rise apartment building in Manhattan. Soft gray carpet, neutral walls, modern sconces casting buttery light down the corridor. Aries leads us to the door. Roman kneels quickly, pressing his ear to the frame. He stays there for a moment, then shakes his head once. No one inside. He rises and pulls a lockpick kit from his back pocket, like second nature. Within seconds, the door clicks open. We step into James St. Clair's apartment and stop dead. It's cold. Not temperature-wise. There's heat, electricity, all the signs of a functioning home, but there is no life in it. The living room is pristine, too pristine. A modern black leather couch sits in front of a low-profile coffee table. But there's literally nothing else in this main space. There are no photos, no books, no shoes by the door. There aren't even any dishes in the sink. Back in the bedroom, the bed is made. There is a phone charger on the nightstand, and literally nothing else. In the closet, there are a dozen items hanging, but at the bottom, a suitcase is lying open on the floor. This isn't just someone who is obsessively clean. This goes beyond minimalism. This isn't an apartment, Juliet mutters. It's a damn way station. Roman drifts toward the window, looking out onto the street. He never planned to stay here. Not for long. I trail my fingers along the wall as I move into the space. It feels wrong, like a place that looks like it should hold someone's life, but all it has is the ghost of intention. Juliet opens a drawer in the nightstand. She pulls out a passport, flipping it open. France, India, Romania, Germany, Austria, Hungary. Her gaze flicks to Roman. Marcus has family in both India and Germany. He told me so himself. Roman nods slowly. James met him over there, and he came here to lay the groundwork. Aries turns, something dark growing behind his eyes. He used my name, my company, my trust. For what? He digs through the other nightstand. It's so strange, rummaging through someone's personal space when they're totally unaware. But James' behavior was alarming. His association with Marcus, the necromancer, made him a target we had no choice but to investigate. Got something, Aries says as he pulls something from the drawer. A book. The leather cover is cracked, aged. The smell of dust and parchment makes my skin prickle, the metallic tang of something old and secret. Aries hands the book to me, and I flip the cover open. Journal of Thaddeus St. Clair. St. Clair, I say as I look up at Aries. A relative of James's, then? Same last name? Maybe, Aries says. It was important to James. There's hardly anything here, so we have to assume anything we do find is significant. I flip through the pages, scanning lines as I go. The language is old. No one from this century uses this kind of language. There are references to blood and revenge. It talks about hiding things and waiting. I don't like it. We take it back with us, Aries says as he casts his gaze around the room again. These don't look like they belong here, Roman calls out, his head buried in the closet. He pulls 2 tubes out, both of them very recognizable as blueprint storage containers. We gather around the bed as he pulls one set of prints out and lays it on the bed, and then the other. This one's for a property I've owned for 5 years, Aries says, tapping the edge of the parchment. And this one belonged to Augustus before he left it to me. I step closer. 2 different buildings, 2 different parts of Manhattan. There are no notes with the prints, no marks. He's definitely looking for someone, Roman says, those vivid blue eyes rising to Aries and then me. Guess this narrows things down for us. 5 of your buildings down to 2. But why the hell would he be looking for a body in these huge buildings in Manhattan? Juliet questions, folding her arms over her chest. It doesn't make any sense. No coincidences, I murmur, shaking my head. We need to check both of them, Aries says, his tone heavy and dark. But maybe this old journal will tell us what we're looking for. Let's wrap this up, Roman says as he turns and digs into the closet once more. We do one last sweep of the apartment. There's nothing else. No letters, no photos. There isn't even a single bit of food in the fridge. It's chilling how temporary this place feels, knowing James has worked for Aries for 2.5 months. Satisfied there's nothing else to unearth, we head for the door. Roman locks it behind us. Aries carries the blueprints, and I hang on tightly to the journal. The hallway feels darker on the way out, and James St. Clair doesn't feel like an assistant anymore. He feels like a dark threat, one we don't yet understand. We step out of James' apartment building just as the city begins to dip into evening. The sky is a deep steel blue, caught somewhere between fading light and the encroaching night. Neon signage flickers to life. The street hums around us, people rushing by, taxis honking as if time itself is trying to beat the city into submission. Juliet lets out a breath, slow and almost wistful. I kinda missed this place. Aries and I glance at her, surprised. She's not looking at us, just watching a couple bicker as they cross the street arm in arm. You've lived here? I ask. She nods. Moved here just after I turned 18. Did all my medical school here. Didn't leave until I resurrected. And you chose Chicago over New York? Aries asks, more curious than skeptical. Juliet smiles, not defensive, just honest. New York made me tough, sharp, but Chicago made me whole. That's where I found my people, where I fell in love, where I stopped running. Roman, walking beside her, laces his fingers with hers. Those intense eyes of his turn down to his wife, and there are about 100 emotions in them. Admiration, love, respect, reverence. Juliet adds, hard things happened there, too, but Chicago is home because of who's in it. Sometimes home isn't a place, it's a person. I realize it with every fiber in my being as I glance at Aries. He is my home, not New York City, not the penthouse. It's him. But as I look at Aries, I realize that he's unusually quiet. His mouth is set in a neutral line, but there's something behind his eyes. Contemplation, not just reflection. What Juliet just said about home has him thinking. I file that away for later. By the time we reach the building, the wind is picking up off the park. Fall barely teases the scent in the air, even though it's only the very end of August. It feels like this summer has gone by in a blink. So damn much has happened. I never even got 2 seconds to acknowledge it. The penthouse elevator ride is quiet. For a moment, I'm expecting comments about the penthouse, the wild location Aries and I live in. But it doesn't come. Neither Juliet nor Roman says a word as we walk inside, which tells me they probably live like this as well. Is everyone in the vampire world absolutely loaded? Everyone I knew growing up was as poor as I was. But when it comes to every vampire I know, they are all used to private jets and multi-million-dollar penthouses. Can I get you anything? I ask Roman and Juliet as we close the door behind us. Might be a long night. I am actually starving, Juliet says. Without invitation, she steps to the fridge and pulls it open. She pulls out 3 blood bags and bites into the first one. Roman just smirks at his wife and shakes his head. I meet his eyes and smile. I love that she just helped herself. I'm good, but thanks for asking, Roman says simply as he watches Juliet discard the first blood bag in the trash. Aries heads straight for the dining room table and rolls out the blueprints. I place the journal beside them. Juliet steps forward, her snack finished. Her eyes scan the pages at Aries' fingertips. Time to crack open the past. The spine of the journal creaks as Aries opens it slowly, and the scent of dust and parchment drifts out like a ghost of the past. The handwriting is elegant, practiced, written in dark ink that has faded to sepia in places. I lean closer beside Aries while Juliet and Roman hover on the other side of the table, watching intently. First entry, Aries says, shifting his grip on the old book. It's dated March 2, 1926. He begins to read aloud. They simply buried him. There is but one stone marking the grave. There is no name carved into the stone, simply a crescent moon and an X. I've watched it for years, studied, observed, and not a soul comes to visit his grave. Not his bastard father, not his missing mother. Everything he accomplished, all he did. None of us would exist were it not for him, and this is the thanks he is given. Forgotten. Sivan and Cyrus erased his name from history. There is not a single record of what he was called. Dorian will never speak it. Malachi will not say it. Their small-mindedness disgusts me. But I have heard rumors, and Roter Himmel doesn't know what may come for it. I must do more research. Before I can make a move, I must confirm. It isn't easy. My presence in Roter Himmel is noted. But for this, for him, any risk is worth it. Times will change. Silence. Aries slowly lowers the journal. No one speaks for a long moment. Fuck, he's talking about living in Roter Himmel, Juliet finally says, her voice quiet but sharp, like her throat is tight. Only royals live in that town. The court, the castle. He couldn't live there unless he was one of them. I see it as Roman's fingers curl into fists, his shoulders tense, the muscles in his jaw flex. That would make Thaddeus a royal. Oh shit. Oh shit. Correct me if I'm wrong, we're still figuring out the whole insanity of royal vampires, but if James has this journal and they share the same last name, my brain is spinning, all of the implications tumbling through it at once. That means James isn't just some assistant. He's from that bloodline. He's a fucking royal. Juliet's expression darkens. Which means he had something very specific in mind when he came to New York. This wasn't about finding a job. He could have lived a cushy life in Roderhimmel. It would have had to be something damn important to pull him away from that. James said his father moved around a lot. Aries notes. I never got the impression that he was lying about that, even looking back on it, knowing he wasn't being upfront about things. The way he talked, I didn't get the impression that his father would have lived in Roderhimmel. James did say he lived in Europe before he came here, I point out. Roderhimmel is in Austria, right? Juliet nods in affirmation. Fuck, Aries says as he runs a hand through his hair. I don't like this. I feel so played. Keep reading, Roman says. I take the journal from Aries and turn to the next page. The sea is worse than I expected. The constant rocking, the cramped quarters. I could have spent more and gotten a bigger cabin, but I only managed to steal so much to bring with me, and I need the funds to survive while I search. The king called for entertainment, and all of Roderhimmel came. He loves his games. So while the entirety of the court watched his orchestration, I took my chance. I started digging, and digging. I worried at first that I was mistaken about this being his resting place. I had to dig so deep. He's been buried so long, I wasn't sure there would even be anything left to exhume. But I finally found it. His bones. One by one, I collected them and placed them in the chest. They are in poor condition, but I will have to have faith that it will be enough. I felt the power as I touched each of his bones, as if history was whispering to me. They themselves hold secrets and vision. I counted it an honor to touch them, to be the first in his presence in nearly 2 millennia. I found the proof I needed in an old book. They exist. It has happened before. The dead rose. And I was putting my life at risk just by asking, but I got what I needed. There is talk of a necromancer in New York, in America. So, to America, I travel now. I know what I've given up. An easy life in Roderhimmel, my connections to the royals, the backing of the king. But to make the bloodfather rise once again, to change the world, I will do anything necessary. There are exactly 3 heartbeats that thud in my chest before the reality of what I just read lands like an anvil in the room. Holy shit, Roman barks as he scrubs a hand over his face. He was digging up the damn bloodfather? The man who tried to take over the damn world with vampires? The asshole who slept around with any woman he could find so he could create a whole brood of children? The one who went to war with Cyrus and somehow lost? Holy fucking shit. The words breathe out over my lips. James himself told us about the bloodfather, about all the history of vampires. James is the one who told us about King Cyrus and his reincarnating wife, Savan. But he also told us about the bloodfather. He tried to step into the light with vampires. The whole population of vampires exists because of that man. A man who took lovers and bred them. A man who went to war with the intent to take control. As far as enemies go, they literally don't come worse than this, Juliet says. Her voice is shaking. For the first time, I see a spark of fear in her eyes. If the bloodfather were to come back, it would literally change the entire world. Humans, oh, it would be so bad for them. Everything would be so different. But it must not have worked, Aries points out. He's so level, so calm when the rest of us are about to freak out. But I have a feeling it's because he still doesn't know much of this history. The world isn't run by vampires. Humans aren't enslaved to us, so it must not have worked. Keep reading, Juliet says, biting at the corner of her thumb nervously as she shifts her weight from one foot to the other. I turn the page and read from the next entry. June 12, 1926. New York is loud, louder than I imagined, and the amount of people around all the time is mind-boggling. They are everywhere, at all times. I've secured a room. It isn't much. There is no quiet. There is a strange smell that comes from the floor below me, but it is private, and it will do while I search. The necromancer I seek remains elusive. I've heard whispers, Rumors, but no one can give me a name. I expected this task could take weeks, perhaps a month, but already it has been 6 weeks and I have no leads. The bones weigh heavily on me, not in the physical sense, though the chest is no small burden. It's the dreams, the things I see when I close my eyes. I feel the breath of something ancient in my room, watching, always watching. This city is full of unholy noise, but none of it compares to the silence that settles when I open the chest. They hum, the bones. They hum with power I don't understand, but I must consider it an honor to guard the bloodfather. I have a bad feeling about where this is going, I say. My stomach turns. My palms feel slick with sweat. All of the little pieces are starting to slide together. Oh, keep going, Juliet says, as she slides her hand down her face with a groan. I hand the journal back to Aries, who takes it with a sigh, flipping the page. The call of the bloodfather grows heavier by the day. I hear him whispering to me at night. I feel his urgency during the day. He haunts me every time I sleep. It feels as if the dreams are bleeding into my nights, too. Even in waking hours, I feel the weight of the bloodfather's will pressing into the back of my skull, a constant thrum that makes me forget my own thoughts. I see glimpses of blood in reflections, ancient battlegrounds in my tea, and voices that do not belong to this century whispering truths I do not want to know. He is reaching for me, begging for me to hurry. But it has been 2 more months, and still I cannot find confirmation of the necromancer. I don't know who else to ask. I feel as if I have talked to everyone by this point. The whole of New York seems to think me a lunatic by this point, the man who seeks the one who can raise the dead. I must be careful. The necromancer may never appear, and I am the only person alive who knows the bloodfather no longer is buried in Roter Himmel. I must guard that secret above all else. I imagine if King Cyrus ever got wind of what I have done, he would grant me a fate of 1,000 times worse than death. The man is maniacal. My punishment would be endless. So I must protect the bones. But every day that passes, they steal my peace. They suck away my sanity. I swallow once and shake my head. That's creepy as fuck. They were making him crazy, Juliet says quietly. How is that even possible? They were just bones. How could they haunt him? Don't underestimate a curse, Roman says darkly. With what the man tried to do, it would be more surprising if a curse hadn't attached itself to him. My eyes flick to Aries, who stares at Roman with trepidation. I can't imagine how all of this must feel. Yes, he's known about vampires since he was an older teenager, but his world of vampires was more mafia-esque than curses and ancient bones. This is an entirely different version of reality than he's ever lived in. Aries, keep reading, Roman encourages. Aries clears his throat and turns the page once more. I can no longer keep the bones near. I hear his voice in every waking moment, and the urgency he presses upon me has nearly incapacitated me. I will never find the necromancer with this chaos in my brain, in my soul. I cannot keep them with me any longer, not until I find the one who can awaken them. I've found a construction site. The building is skeletal, but the foundation is strong. I'll hide them within it. The city will grow, and it will never have any idea what rests beneath. But I will remember. I will always remember where they are. Oh my gosh, I breathe. That has to be it. The time frame. I bet James dug into it, and that's why he came to work for you, Aries. The bloodfather was hidden in one of your buildings. Finish it, Roman growls, pressing past what I just said. The urgency in the room doubles, and my heart starts pounding as we begin to understand. I lean over Aries' shoulder as he turns to the next passage. The handwriting is erratic, ink splattered and smeared. It's as if he wrote it in haste or desperation. November 21, 1926. I am out of coin. The city bleeds me dry. Food, lodging, bribes for information. All of it devours what little I carried across the sea. I thought America would be easier, but this place has its own breed of cruelty. I have searched endlessly. The necromancer must be here. He must. But as the days rot and stretch into weeks, I begin to question, what if there is no necromancer? What if all the stories I heard were lies? What if I crossed the ocean, dug up the dead, buried sacred bones in foreign soil for nothing? If Cyrus ever finds out what I've done, what I stole, he will not stop at death. He will unravel me, piece by piece. I've seen what becomes of traitors. There is no mercy there, no end to his rage. But I cannot turn back now. I only need one more month to find what I need and complete what I began. Just one more month, please. I think that's the last entry, I say as I nod to the next page. Aries hands me the journal, and I take a breath. January 29, 1927. I cannot beg any longer. I've pawned everything I brought across the sea. The bones are still safe, still retrievable. The building is nearly finished. I carved the markers myself, laid stone over them so they will remain untouched. Only I know where they lie. But I cannot starve. I heard whispers today about an underground fighting ring, a place where rich men bet on bloodshed. They pit men against each other for sport. What they don't know is that I am no man. I may not look it, but I am stronger. I am faster, and no human can stand against me. They gave me the name of my opponent, Sebastian Vincent, American, I think. They say he's brutal, undefeated, that he breaks jaws and ribs without blinking. But I will snap his spine like twine. I will take his blood if I must. When I win, I'll have enough to survive one more month to complete what I began. The bloodfather waits. Holy fuck. My eyes rise from the page to meet Juliet's. She's pale as a ghost. Her chest rises and falls in short, fast bursts. Sebastian, she whispers. Juliet? I question, my brows furrowing. She's gone pale. Her mouth opens, then shuts again. Her eyes are fixed on the journal in my lap, like it just whispered something only she could hear. Juliet? I ask again, gently, my voice tight with concern. Her hands tremble as she reaches up and presses her fingers against her mouth. Her chest rises sharply. Sebastian, she says, barely above a whisper. Roman straightens beside her, every muscle in his body going taut. You knew him? Aries asks carefully. Juliet closes her eyes, shakes her head, but not in denial, more like she's trying to dislodge something heavy and sharp inside her skull. I didn't just know him. He was my fiancé. The words hit me like a punch. The psychopath. She mentioned him. What? I left him. Her voice cracks. Before Roman. Before everything. Sebastian and I were engaged. She exhales shakily, eyes glassing over. My heart twists. I haven't known her that long, but I've never heard her voice like this. So raw, so scraped down to the bones. Juliet continues, her breath picking up. He had a temper. He could be controlling, but I didn't see it at first. I thought he was like me, that he understood what it meant to live a hard life. She blinks rapidly and shakes her head. She takes in a shaky breath. Roman doesn't bristle. He doesn't look jealous or angry. He simply keeps a steadying hand on her arm, a look of complex understanding in his eyes. Sebastian had a rough start at life, and then horrible circumstances after he resurrected, Juliet explains, even with moisture pooling in her eyes. He hated himself. I think he was punishing himself. He didn't really care if he died. He told me about the fights in New York. He did it for several years. It was guaranteed money because no one else knew what he truly was. Shit, I whisper. Thaddeus thought he was fighting a human. Juliet lets out a sound between a laugh and a sob. Sebastian wouldn't have held back. Not even for a second. Aries leans forward, elbows on his knees, his brow drawn tight. That means Thaddeus was killed in that fight, which explains why the journal ends there. Juliet's whole body is trembling now. Roman pulls her against him, wrapping her in his arms. She buries her face into his chest, and for a long moment, the only sound is her quiet, broken crying. I'm sorry, I say softly. I didn't know. Juliet shakes her head without looking up. He's dead, long gone. But this just... It's like the past is hunting me again. Roman kisses the top of her head. You've already survived the worst of it, Amor. This is just an echo. Juliet curses and presses her forehead into Roman's chest. This feels too intimate. I feel like I shouldn't be here. There's obviously so much painful history here. I can feel the agony radiating off Juliet right now. Juliet did love Sebastian. I can feel it without even trying. But her pain, her anguish, Sebastian also hurt Juliet in the deepest way possible. What happened to Sebastian? What did he do to her? Juliet said she and Roman had been together for 10 years. I can see the love between them in such an obvious way. But this reaction? Juliet obviously wasn't expecting the past to rear its ugly head on something so seemingly unrelated. Damn, poor Juliet. Aries and I glance at each other, and though it's unspoken, I see it in his eyes. A moment of gratitude. It's me and him. There hasn't been a moment of harshness or betrayal. There's never been anything that's made me question him. He's never once hurt me. He is my person from now until time ceases. And I'm so fucking grateful that I've never had to go through the kind of heartache Juliet has. As Aries offers me a small smile, a look in his eyes that just screams, I love you, I think maybe the same thoughts are rolling through his head. Juliet takes in a deep breath, attempting to steady herself. I glance down at the journal still clutched in my hand, and that's when I notice it. There's one last page. The ink is different, the paper less stained, the scrawl more controlled. It isn't Thaddeus's frantic, blood-rushed handwriting. This is neater, sharper, calculated. There's one more entry, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. It comes out hoarse, like it's scraped over gravel. Guys, there's one more entry. The atmosphere shifts instantly. Tension thickens in the air like smoke. I clear my throat and begin to read. Entry by James St. Clair, August 23. I've read every word he left behind. Thaddeus St. Clair, my father's uncle. A fanatic, yes, but he wasn't wrong. The bloodfather was left to rot with no respect, left to be forgotten. It took me years, decades. I tracked his steps through rumors, dust, and dead ends. I followed him through the web of history, and eventually, the truth clawed its way up from the dirt. I narrowed down the buildings. There were 5 under construction in that year, and I've narrowed it down to only 2 possibilities. I tracked down the blueprints, and then I tracked down the owners, Aries Hunt, Augustus Lunan, father and son. Now, I've made sure I have access to both. Thaddeus failed because he only had rumors to go on, because he ran out of time. I won't. I found a necromancer before I even came searching for the bones. Marcus arrives tomorrow. The rightful ruler of vampires sleeps beneath our feet. Soon, he will rise. I close the journal softly. No one says a word. The only sound is the faint hum of the city bleeding in through the penthouse windows. Juliet is the one to break the silence. Her voice is low, distant. He did it. Roman looks over at her, brow furrowed. She clarifies, still stunned. James accomplished what Thaddeus couldn't. He actually found a necromancer. Aries rises slowly to his feet. His jaw is tight, the veins in his forearms standing out like cords he's wound so tight. And now, the necromancer is in my city, he says darkly, working with someone who knows every corner of my life. The weight in the room shifts again. It's not just betrayal anymore. It feels like prophecy, and we're standing in the middle of it. That last entry, it was only 4 days ago, Roman says, scrubbing a hand over his face in disbelief. What a fucking disaster, I say, shaking my head. I mean, the whole origins, the lore, everything to do with how vampires came to be is so wild. But this, taking it all the way back to where all of you came from, his name is the bloodfather, for fuck's sake. Do things ever get quiet and easy in this world? Not really, no, Juliet says, at the same time Roman smirks like what I just asked is cute. I shake my head again. At least my life will never be boring again. Juliet sniffs, wiping at her face. Unlikely. She tries to laugh about it, but what she just learned has obviously still got her in a chokehold. Look, we need to get on this shit, but I could kind of use a minute. So we're gonna go back to our hotel for a bit. We'll call you when we're ready to head out again, if that's all right. Of course, I say, nodding my head. Hell, I wouldn't blame her if she needed a whole week instead of a minute. See you soon, Roman says, taking his wife's hand and walking to the door with her. Aries and I watch as they walk out and close the door behind them. Aries slides his hands around my hips from behind, pulling me into him. The movement is wildly comforting in a moment when I'm feeling overwhelmed, scared. It's all so crazy I don't even really know. We need to update the Barons, Aries says. The rumble in his chest as he speaks is one of my favorite things in the world. Oh, yeah, I say, chuckling, because, of course, there is one more thing. Harry and Cisco made me a Baron while you weren't you. Of course they did, Aries says, without even a hint of surprise. He presses a kiss to the hollow behind my ear. You're Lana fucking Kincaid. I turn in Aries' arms, coming chest to chest. I loop my arms behind his neck, and he presses his forehead to mine. I allow my eyes to slide closed, and I take in a slow, deep breath. It's nearly impossible to describe how I feel right now. It's like I'm exhausted, like I've been working out nonstop for weeks now, like I've taken AP tests for 8 days straight. But my body doesn't feel tired. I don't need to sleep, and I feel mentally sharper than ever. But the exhaustion is there. So damn much has happened in the last few weeks. It just keeps coming at us. One life-threatening situation at a time. You're amazing, Aries says, his lips moving against my skin. How much you handle, the grace you handle it with, that incredible mind of yours. I worship at your feet every day, Vengeance. I really like that word, I say as my entire body ignites. I bite my lower lip, looking up into Aries' hazel eyes with a need that grows more demanding by the second. There's been so much damn doom and gloom. Since I got him back, we've dealt with one crisis after another. As I stand here in his arms, with my body pressed against his, I need him. A devilish grin tugs on Aries' lips. His hands come to my hips, their touch turning possessive. We should get out there, he mutters, his voice low, rough. Start doing what needs to be done. 20 minutes of worship won't hurt anything, I whisper in a rough tone. The look in his eyes is lethal, wild, but there's something else there too. Aching, devotion, heat. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't hesitate. His mouth crashes into mine like a promise and a punishment all at once. There's desperation in it. Something raw and frantic, like we both need to remember we're still alive, that we still have each other. My fingers claw at the hem of his shirt, and it's gone. His skin is fever hot against mine. His hands everywhere. My waist, my hips, my throat. My shirt disappears, followed by my pants. I'm gasping, clinging, and still it doesn't feel close enough. We shuffle through the penthouse, bumping into furniture. Finally, Aries spins us, and the cold press of glass hits my shoulder blades. He lifts my hands above my head, pins them against the window, and leans in close. If anyone looks up, he breathes, lips brushing the shell of my ear, they'll see exactly who you belong to. A shiver runs down my spine, and it has nothing to do with the chill of the window. I bite my bottom lip. Let them. Aries growls in pleasure. His eyes flare red, and in one smooth movement, he unhooks my bra, letting it fall to the floor, my breasts exposed. With a wicked grin on his lips, he sinks down to his knees, holding eye contact the whole time as he lowers himself. His hands slide down my back, round over my ass. He squeezes my cheeks, his fingers digging into my flesh. It's a little different from when he's done it before. I won't be bruised tomorrow. The thought makes me a tiny bit sad. I like being marked by him. I don't get much time to lament. Aries snakes his hand into my underwear from the front, gripping it in his massive hand. He yanks, tearing the delicate fabric. He lets it fall to the floor beside him. A manic smile forms on my lips. We don't have time to play for long. Aries gets right to it. He hooks my right leg over his shoulder. With his opposite hand, he pushes me back against the floor-to-ceiling glass, my back flattening against it. He presses a hot kiss to my mount. My head tilts back with a groan when he laps his tongue out and drags it up through my folds. He then sucks at my clit, using the very best, most brain-shattering pulse. His massive hand grips my hip, supporting what must be half my weight, and it's completely effortless for him. I kind of get it now that I'm similar to him. But his other hand, oh, his other hand does wicked things. A finger teases my entrance. I get 2 seconds of warning before he slips right inside me. It's effortless with how wet I am. Fuck, you're my favorite flavor, Aries says against my skin, eating me out in the best way possible. He takes a full-mouthed bite at me, his teeth scraping against my flesh before he sucks me so hard my vision spins. Shit, Aries, I pant, feeling the reckless need building inside me with the force of a freight train. He moans against my pussy, and oh, those vibrations. Meanwhile, he pumps another finger inside me, curling them in a come-hither motion. Holy shit. Holy shit. In that moment, I remember that I am pressed up against a glass window that looks out over Central fucking Park. It's evening, 9 o'clock, but this city never sleeps. My bare ass is pressed up against that glass, to say nothing of my bare back, and just between my legs, my fiancé's fingers pumping in and out of me have to be visible. Someone could definitely see him on his knees and his head bobbing between my legs. Fuck. That thought makes my blood burn so much hotter. I rocket closer to that cliff. Does that mean I'm into, what would it be, exhibitionism? I don't give a damn right now. Because with one long, powerful suck at my clit, Aries shoves me over the edge. I shudder. The orgasm rips from my clit, out through my core, straight to my toes, to my fingertips, to the back of my skull. Aries. His name screams over my lips as I see stars. My legs lose strength, but Aries' grip never falters. He holds me pinned against the glass as I come undone. I pant, my bare chest heaving, my nipples pebbling against the cold air. He does not cease sucking on me, pumping his fingers inside me, and I've barely come down when Aries licks his way up to my belly button, when he kisses a path between my breasts. His hand comes up to cup my breast, and his fingers are soaked with my heat. Aries kisses me, and I taste myself on his lips. That hand continues north, his fingers wrapping around my throat, though he doesn't squeeze. "Get your pants off now and fuck me against this window," I growl, looking up into his darkened eyes. "I love that fucking mouth of yours," Aries growls in approval. With one hand, he unbuttons his pants, and in one swift motion, they're in a pile at his feet. I barely get one glance down, taking in the sight of his beautiful, perfect, rock-hard cock, before he spins me around. My hands fly out as he bends me over, his hands gripping tightly at my hips. And 1 second later, Aries skewers me with that perfect cock. He slides inside me, zero resistance, as my wetness accepts him. He's barely been inside me for 2 seconds before he starts sliding out and in, his pace picking up force with each thrust. I hope this glass can take just as much as I can. My fingers are splayed wide against it, and the force of Aries pounding into me from behind is no small thing. I gaze out at the city at night. There are 6 people walking on the sidewalk directly below me. I see 4 more walking in the park across the street. Fuck, I kind of want just one of them to look up. They would see my tits bouncing as Aries slams into me. They would see my eyes roll into the back of my head. They'd see Aries' fingers sliding between my legs, playing with my clit in a very ungentle way. I feel it building again. How? How can he pull orgasms out of me this easily? "I love every damn inch of this body, Vengeance," Aries says, his voice completely feral. He rubs the pad of his middle finger up and down over my clit, taking long, beautiful strokes. "It loves every inch of you, Venom," I manage to get the words out. He slams into me harder, the noise of it filling the penthouse. A growl rumbles in his chest. I sense it coming, the earth-shattering finish. Aries' grip on my hip tightens. His finger slips over my little bud, and the entire planet must detonate. My vision goes white. A gasping scream rips from my lips. Aries lets out a roar, and I unravel. I shatter. I cease to exist, or perhaps I become the entire universe. Aries groans again, thrusting one last time, pushing me to one last ecstasy-filled moment. His arms wrap around my waist. His hot, soft lips press into my spine. "Fuck, I needed that," he says against my skin. "You're absolutely addicting. You know that?" "I think I might," I say as I straighten and turn in his arms. "Good to know we're both addicts." He kisses me, and I don't know that his mouth has ever been this hot. His heart pounds in his chest, pressed into my own. But it feels perfect. This is what I've been fighting so hard for. Why I'll keep going, no matter what we have to face. Because these moments, just like this, are what makes every day with Aries the best day of my life. "That was 22 minutes, Aries says as he crooks an eyebrow at me. "Sorry, world," I say, unbothered. "Guess I'd rather get plowed by my fiancé than worry about saving you." Aries smiles the most crooked, seductive smile, and I fucking melt. He leans in, his hands circling around to cup my ass cheeks, giving them each a squeeze. "Have I ever told you that you have the absolutely most perfect ass on the entire planet?" he says, low and rough into my ear. "You haven't," I answer, utterly pleased. He simply growls and nods, and it's all fucking mine. "I love that fucking mouth of yours," I echo his own words back to him. He smacks my left cheek and smirks at me as he turns, releasing me. "Come on, the world still needs saving." "Give me just a second," I say as I step toward our bedroom. Someone keeps ruining all of my underwear, and I'd rather not save the world, Commando. Chapter 14. Telling Cisco and Harry everything we had learned required explaining everything. The origins of vampires, King Cyrus, the reincarnating queen, their demented son, the war that divided the royals from the born, the house system. So many damn details that I didn't feel like we had a firm grip on yet. And here Aries and I were, teaching the other barons. Harry had heard rumors about all of this, but he had never believed any of it. Even as we explained it all, I wasn't sure if he believed us. Cisco's mind had been fucking blown. "You're serious right now?" he'd asked about 12 different times. "A king? You're telling me there's vampire royalty in Boston? In fucking Mississippi? No. No way." In the end, though, he believed me and Aries. Then the question was, what to do with the information. What did it change? How did we move forward from here? All of that could wait. Because for now, the priority was to find James, find Marcus, and keep them from bringing the bloodfather back. We're about to head out, to get back into all of this shit, when Juliet calls. I pick up on the first ring. "Hey." "Hey," she says, voice a little softer than usual. "I don't know how you feel about it, but it seems like the right thing to do to give you an update. Ophelia's being moved from the ICU to a regular room." That takes me off guard. I stop walking, the city still humming around me. Aries pauses beside me, watching me carefully. "Already?" "She's tougher than she looks," Juliet says. "Vitals are stable, she's banged up, but she's conscious, alert and oriented." I stare ahead, across the street, where a man in a business suit is sipping coffee and yelling into his phone. Life keeps moving, even when it feels like the rug is ripped out from beneath our feet. "Thanks for letting me know," I say. My voice feels tight in my throat. It feels so damn wrong that I haven't been there for her, been there with her. She was hurt, but the way things are, I think I might go see her. There's a pause. "You sure?" "No, not at all. This might be the worst idea I've had all year, but I nod anyway." "Yeah." "Good luck," she says. We hang up and I turn to Aries. His jaw is set, unreadable. "She's stable," I tell him, even though I'm positive he heard everything said on the phone. "They're moving her." He doesn't say anything at first. He's studying me, reading how I feel about this situation. "You sure, Vengeance? The things she said to you before, I can't stand the thought of her saying that shit to you again." "I don't know. Maybe this is a terrible idea, but we meant something to each other at one point, you know? And to think of her being in the hospital with no one with her?" I shake my head. "I think it's worth a try." Aries steps in close, brushing his knuckles across my cheek. "Whatever you need. Do you want me to come with you?" I snort. We both know that's a terrible idea. He tries to smile for my sake, but it doesn't reach his eyes. He simply nods and then kisses my forehead. "I'm going to check in with Roman. We still need to figure out where Marcus is going next. Text me the second you're done." "I will." We part ways at the curb. Aries melts into the crowd, his tall frame swallowed up by the surge of bodies and motion. I head in the opposite direction, toward the hospital. Toward a ghost I'm not sure I'm ready to face. Every step is heavier than the last. I try not to overthink it, but I'm already spiraling. What do I even say to her? She destroyed Aries, almost got him killed, got people killed. Lives were ended because of her need for revenge. I try to reason myself into feeling better by thinking back to the real origin of it all. Augustus, Aries' father. If Augustus hadn't been such a horrible being, if he hadn't been taking people and selling them to vampires to feed on, none of this would have happened. If Ophelia hadn't gone to that red party, she never would have been taken by Augustus's guys, and she never would have hated vampires. But also, then I never would have met Aries. I wouldn't be engaged to the love of my life. I would still be living in that shitty apartment, being lonely and tired and unfulfilled. I'd still be human, but I haven't regretted being a maid since the moment I opened my enhanced eyes. The reality is that Ophelia made her choice. She took things too far. Bad things happen to good people all the time. It's a horrific reality. But not everyone turns around from it and makes someone else kill innocent people who are simply guilty by species. Ophelia made a choice. Still, I can't quite find it in me to hate her. Despite all of her terrible choices, I don't know that I hate her. Do I forgive her? Absolutely the fuck not. Will we ever go back to what we were? Nope. But once, she was everything to me. She was home. Each step toward the hospital feels heavier than the last. Not physically, my new body hums with strength, but the emotional drag is suffocating. I have no idea what I'm going to say to her, but she's alive. That matters. I round a corner, the hospital coming into view. It's quiet down this road, and it's nice having a clear sidewalk to myself. But as I go to step off the curb and cross the street, I freeze. Literally, my feet won't move. My brows furrow, and I look down. Both my feet remain planted firmly on the sidewalk, and no matter what I do, I can't fucking lift them. Holy shit. My throat tightens and sweat breaks out across my entire body. And then I feel it. A presence. Heavy, focused. My spine tingles, every hair on my arms lifting. I'm not alone. That's when the world tips. It's like vertigo hits me, but I don't feel like I'm actually in danger of falling. But it's like everything spins slightly and tilts sideways. The sidewalk around me dulls. Colors blur. Sound drops away. The chatter of the city fades until I can only hear my own heartbeat, thudding like a drum inside my ribs. She stands across from me. I didn't see her arrive. There's a woman standing on the sidewalk. She stares at me with fixed eyes, her gaze heavy and unrelenting as she studies me. She is ordinary and extraordinary all at once. Neutral slacks, pale blouse, hair the shade of dirty snow pulled into a bun. Her presence hits like a pressure front. Dense. Wrong. I try to blink, to clear the haze crawling into my mind. My thoughts feel sticky, half-formed, like trying to wade through wet cement. "You're different," she says. Her voice is cool silk wrapped around a knife. "Not quite like them, but not human either." My mouth opens, but I don't know what to say. I can't focus. Her eyes. Fuck, what color are her eyes? I can't remember even though I'm looking at them. "She never mentioned this," the woman says, never looking away. I try to blink, to make my brain clear, but I just can't. "We spoke about you at length. You were a solid presence in her life, until you fell in love with the very thing infecting our city." "It was you," I say as it hits me. "The therapist Ophelia saw, the one who specializes in vampire trauma, the one who helped Ophelia influence Aries. Do you even know what you did? What you helped Ophelia do? People are dead now, and my fiancé will have to live with that guilt forever." A small smile crooks on her lips, though I can't tell if they're full or wrinkled, if they're pale or colored. In the end, the balance must be kept. The scales tipped too far years ago. They were too imbalanced recently. They remain imbalanced. And there I have it. The confirmation that this woman is indeed responsible for Ailia and Duncan Steele losing the majority of their family. She is the one who infiltrated their uncle and made him kill every one of their family members. "Imbalanced," I say. I stay rooted in place, unable to move an inch. "What do you mean by that?" "Numbers, girl. It's not that complicated," the woman says condescendingly. "There are far too many vampires in the world to begin with. There are cities around the globe infested with them. But New York, my home, is one place I can do something about, where I can help with crowd control." I shake my head. "You realize these are people, right? Good people, and you get to be the judge? You think you get to play God? More blood is on your hands than any of those vampires." She offers a smile, though it flickers in and out of my brain in real time. "You're young, inexperienced. You have yet to see the rot they have caused over decades, the power they've seized. I don't ask you to understand. I simply thought I would give you time to give the rest of them a warning. I shake my head. There aren't even that many vampires in New York, and thanks to you, 5 of them, maybe more, are recently dead. She's so cool, so calm. I want to rip her fucking eyes out, but I can't even really see them. My vision of her continues to flicker, continues to wipe in real time. It's no longer just about numbers, Lana, she says, and the moment she says my name, my skin crawls. I've recently heard about the influence a certain cell of Born hold over this city, and I want it to stop. My whole body goes cold. The Barons. She's talking about the Barons, and I know it with every cell in my being. Harry Kim, Cisco Sullivan, Augustus Lonan, Giovanni Bosco, Cliff Morgan, and Aries Hunt, she says, each word like nails in a coffin. The influence they hold over this city is unacceptable, and I will see it end. I shake my head. No, holy shit, no. Augustus is dead, I blurt. I'm saying more than I want to, but it's like I can't hold all of my own thoughts, like some of them are slipping out before I can catch them. Aries killed him after what he did to Ophelia and the others. Giovanni is also dead, and Cliff has been missing. We assume he's dead. So their influence is over. It's done. She looks pleasantly surprised at that. Thank you for that information, she says with a smile that flickers before my eyes. But I'm afraid this is an all-or-nothing mission. Tell your friends to clear the city, or I will do it for them, and they'll never see me coming. I want to throw up, scream, cry. I want to pummel this twisted woman into a bloody pulp on the sidewalk, but I can't move. My feet remain glued to the ground beneath me. Why won't all the insanity just stop? Can't things just chill the fuck out for a while? The dire situations just keep piling up, one on top of the other. What got you here? I ask, my words like ice. What gave you such a god complex? She shakes her head. We can talk psychology all day, but it won't change anything. It won't make you understand. But you need to tell your friends. I won't wait much longer. Aries is a very proficient killer. Maybe I'll use him again. Or Cisco. He's quite unpredictable, isn't he? Or maybe it could be Harry who takes out the rest of them. He's so calm. I would like to see what it's like when he loses control. Fuck you, I bark, trying with everything I have in me to lunge at her. I want my hands around her throat. I want to smash the back of her head against the pavement. I think I'd like to sink my fangs into her neck and see what her blood tastes like. I want to take all of it. A warning, Lana. A heads up. That's all this is, she says, her demeanor calm despite my outburst. I will clear this city, so those who wish to live need to leave New York. I stare at her, seeing her without being able to see her. Every word she speaks, I feel them in my bones. I feel them in my chest. The history is there. The proof is evident. She's taken out the Steele family. She already made Aries kill so many. If she says she will do this, she's going to do it. And she'll use someone I love to accomplish it. We need some time, I say, and every word feels like a defeat. There's someone here, someone with ties to the royals. They're trying to bring back the bloodfather, and I would think that's the last thing you would want. Finally, what I have to say stills her. Her face pales, her shoulders slump, her gaze narrows. There is a necromancer and a vampire with too much knowledge and a family mission looking for his bones as we speak, I say. I can feel it. I won't defeat this woman, so I need to get very, very clear on what needs to happen now. We're close, and we plan to stop him. So you need to give us time to take care of this. Damn it. I wish I could actually see this woman. I wish I could read her better. Does she realize how serious this is? Does she take me seriously? Does she understand the gravity of what it would mean for the bloodfather to return? 2 weeks, she says. My skin prickles as she speaks, and instantly a ticking clock starts counting down in the back of my brain. You have 2 weeks to resolve this situation. No longer. Then I will take care of it myself, and I will choose which of them, maybe even you, suits me to clean New York of the barons. 14 days. And then she'll turn one of us into a weapon. Do you understand the gravity of what I'm saying, Lana? She asks as she steps forward. I want to take a step back, to put some distance between us, but I remain frozen, the world tilting surreally around me. You can't stop me. They can't find me. Many have tried. I've erased my identity from memory. You'll forget my face the second I'm gone. You'll forget my voice, my walk. I've honed this gift over decades. I am the blank space no mind can hold. A chill settles into my bones. My instincts scream, every part of my body aware I am prey before a predator who doesn't need claws or teeth. Do you understand? She asks, her voice suddenly thunderous in my mind. I nod. I don't just understand. I believe her. She nods. You have your time. 2 weeks to find the necromancer, to stop the bloodfather. But no more. She snaps her fingers, startling me. I blink and the world shifts. The street is empty. The hospital is gone. I'm standing in a part of the city I don't recognize. I spin once, twice, my heart pounding, my breath shaky. I don't remember her face. I don't know where I just was. I dig into my brain. She's there. She has to be there. She was blonde, right? No, brunette. Actually, I have no idea if she had hair at all, if she had eyes, if she was 2 feet tall or 20. Fuck, how? How can a person do something like this? A gifted person can do this. They can turn someone against everything they normally would do. They can make an uncle slaughter dozens of his family members in one night. They can help an inexperienced woman turn Aries against his own kind, make it so he can't even remember what he was doing. Fuck. I turn, orienting myself. One more damn thing. It's one more damn thing to go tell the others. I thought I could face Ophelia, to try and mend things, but this, her association with this woman, Ophelia turning to someone like this for help, things are too broken. We're too far past the point of no return. I won't be going to visit Ophelia in the hospital. The clock is ticking. I head down into the nearest subway station and wonder just how much we can all take before we break. When I get to Aries' building, I feel sick, nervous, scared. A sense of dread is coating my insides. I feel like I'm always weighing, who do I tell? How much do I tell? It's fucking exhausting. So by the time I reach the 38th floor, I'm too wiped out to even think about measuring it all. Roman is seated at the helm, scanning over tons of footage. Aries stands over his shoulder, watching it as well. They really are so damn similar. To my surprise, Cisco is standing right next to Aries, watching with that wild intensity that is signature to him. Juliet is at the back of the room, talking on the phone. She sounds stressed, but professional. We order the machine. It isn't really an option at this point, she says. The money is there. I'd planned to use it to remodel the lab, but it's just going to have to wait. Okay, thanks. Juliet said she is an ER doctor, but from that conversation, she's a lot more than that. I make a mental note to Google her name later. She hangs up and slides her phone into her pocket at the same time Aries turns and scrapes those dangerous eyes of his down my body. How did it go? He asks, his tone a little wary. I draw in a deep breath, resolve settling into my bones. I'm done holding information back. I trust everyone in this room. Yes, I've only known Juliet and Roman for a few days, but I'm just going to have to take a leap of faith on them. I didn't make it to the hospital, I say. I was intercepted and given a warning. And so I relay everything that's just happened. The world fracturing, the cerebral state the woman put me in. Her warning about the Baron's hold on the city, that she's planning to use one of us to take out the rest of the Barons. I tell them that she told me we have 2 weeks to intercept the resurrection of the bloodfather before she goes after us. Who is she? Aries snarls. Name, description. I shake my head. That's just the thing. I couldn't even figure out what she looked like when she was standing right in front of me. It was like she was erasing herself from my brain in real time. That doesn't make any sense, Cisco says, his eyes narrowing. I know, I say with a nod. Trust me, it wasn't a fun trip. Aries, I can't even imagine how you feel about the 8 days Ophelia took from you. I feel fucking violated that she simply erased herself from my memory. He swallows once, and I almost wish I hadn't brought it up. He's been struggling enough not to hold himself responsible. Why did I have to remind him? So she makes threats to the entire vampire population in New York, to us directly, and we don't even have a description? Cisco says, his tone annoyed and disgusted. Is this who was working with Ophelia? Juliet asks. I nod. She's a therapist, I do know that. Ophelia went to her because she specializes in helping people with trauma caused by vampires. But even Ophelia didn't know her name. She said they would always meet someplace new, and Ophelia could never remember where they'd met, couldn't remember her name or what she even looked like. That's fucking freaky, Cisco sneers. That's a little bit of information to go off of, Aries says. She's a therapist, and we know she's a woman. That's gotta narrow the results a little bit. Roman is typing away furiously at the keyboard. Not really, he says, his tone dark. There are over 13,000 therapists in New York State, and according to this, women make up over 70% of therapists nationwide. Good luck finding a directory of every single therapist in New York City. Damn it. The curse slips over Aries' lips. There's really nothing else to go on, Lana. I shake my head, hating that she's this damn good. It's just an empty void in my head. This is kind of scary, Aries. You might not have her face, but we have yours, Roman says. He snaps a picture of me and puts it into the computer, and within seconds, my face is popping up on cameras. We track me walking to the hospital, crossing streets, going around corners. But as I get within a block of where the woman intercepted me, the cameras end. Fuck, Cisco curses as he sits back. So damn close. We almost had her face. How is she such a threat to the overall population? Roman asks. He's frustrated. It was a good plan, a good thought, and we were just seconds away from capturing her face. You ever heard of the Steele family? Aries asks. No, Roman answers honestly. Cisco gives them a quick recap of the extermination their family went through. So she can really do some damage, Juliet says, her tone sounding far away. Her gaze is fixed on the floor, as if she's picturing horrible things happening. Yeah, she can, Cisco says. Fuck. Exactly what we need, Aries says, his gaze turning back to the screens. A ticking clock to find a slippery snake, and a looming threat to all of us. Bad. It's really, really damn bad. One crisis at a time, I say as I square my shoulders. We can't fix all of the problems at once. First, we find James and Marcus. We head to the 2 buildings James had the blueprints for. The first is a very commercial building, one Aries has owned for just over a year. There's 2 restaurants on the main floor, 2 floors of offices, and then half a dozen floors of apartments. We head straight to the basement and start looking. Without knowing exactly what we're looking for, it's hard to be certain if it is or isn't there. But all of us, myself, Aries, Roman, Juliet, and Cisco, comb through every square inch of the basement. It's relatively empty, a few storage boxes and some forgotten parts. There's the heating and cooling system mechanics and a massive electrical panel. But from what we can see, there's nothing to indicate any space where a chest full of bones might be hidden. We head to the second building. The air outside the Midtown building hums with the white noise of the city. Taxis honk in the distance. Somewhere farther north, a siren wails. But all I can hear is the quiet tension buzzing between the 5 of us. We were talking about starting renovations on this building, Aries mutters as he stares up at the building. James had all kinds of ideas. And you didn't think that was suspicious? Cisco asks, raising a brow. Aries cuts him a look. At the time, no. It's what my company does. He worked for me. It was his job. Except James had an ulterior motive. Roman exhales slowly beside Juliet. His arms are crossed over his chest, eyes scanning every inch of the facade. Well, Let's see what your right-hand man was really up to. This is a purely residential building. There is no doorman, so at least we don't have to talk our way in, even though Aries owns the building. We walk right on in and head to the stairs behind a closed door. The air is colder, and the proof of the building's age is instant. A chill works its way down my arms as we descend, and it feels a little like stepping back in time. I imagine Thaddeus visiting this building at night when the work crews had left, coming through the skeleton of the building for a place to hide something ancient and sinister. When we step out onto the floor of the sub-basement, the mood shifts. The light flickers overhead. Paint peels in strips down the walls. It smells like metal and mildew. Charming, Juliet mutters. We move through a hallway, checking doors as we go. There are old boxes down here, though not many. There's a few forgotten pieces of furniture, there are old buckets of paint, and a few trashed tools. Finally, at the end of the hall, we find a locked maintenance door. Aries pulls up something on his phone. He owns dozens of buildings. There's no way he's got every code for every place memorized. A few seconds later, he finds what he's looking for and keys in a code. It buzzes open. Inside is a storage area filled with discarded drywall sheets, rusted pipes, and coils of wire. No surveillance cameras. No signs of recent construction. But the dust on the floor, it's wrong. There's a faint trail where something heavy was dragged. Roman crouches down, eyeing it. These are fresh, I'd say in the last day or so. We follow the trail around a corner. It's damn obvious when we spot it. There's a section of wall that's been broken up by the sledgehammer leaning against the wall. There is a crack stretching out from it along the wall that makes me nervous to be down here in this basement. But there is a wide open maw in the concrete, and inside it is a small chamber, maybe 4 feet wide, 3 feet deep, and 3 feet tall. I think we found the place, Cisco says as he blows out air between his lips and rubs a hand through his hair. Not before James retrieved the bones, Roman states, because the secret chamber is empty. Inside, there's a clear square on the floor, dust showing the place the chest rested for nearly a century. But there's a path disturbing it, and it's clear to tell where it was retrieved and pulled from its hiding place. Aries clenches his jaw. He has them. He found the bones, and we probably just missed it by hours. And now he has Marcus, I whisper. My skin goes cold. Roman steps back, folding his arms over his chest. He's got everything he needs. We're not hunting for the bones anymore. We're hunting the resurrection. And we have no idea where or when that will happen, Cisco adds grimly. We stare at the empty alcove for a long time. The silence feels final. Aries' voice is low, guttural. We're running out of time. I can feel the weight of it. The absence of those bones screams louder than any siren. We turn and go, but the gravity of the situation is suffocating. He's already moving, and we're just trying to catch his shadow. Chapter 15. He's not answering, Aries mutters, lowering his phone like he wants to crush it in his hand. The hard line of his jaw tells me exactly how much restraint he's using. Roman sits across from him, arms folded, that unreadable calm over his features. He knows you're onto him. He kind of gave himself away that something was up when he threw a damn tantrum on Ophelia, Juliet says dryly. He'd want somewhere private, I say, my gaze unfocused as I stare at the floor. He's been looking for the bones for months. He's spent years getting Thaddeus's journal, time tracking down Marcus. I don't think he'd want to wait any longer. He's going to be in a hurry now that he has everything he needs. He's going to want somewhere private to do this reincarnation. He wouldn't be stupid enough to use one of my buildings now, Aries says, pacing. It's obvious I'm looking for him. Juliet shifts her weight from one foot to the other. She looks like she's about ready to crawl out of her own skin with the need to do something. Then he's using something new, something that has no risk of you knowing about it. Let me try something, Aries says as he slides over to the computer. He types with the controlled intensity of a man on a mission. If he bought something recently under his own name, it only takes 30 seconds before something pings. Closed today, Aries says, his pitch rising with adrenaline. James St. Clair. He paid cash. Where? Roman and Cisco ask at the same time. The Bronx, Aries replies as he looks up and meets my eyes. Any other details? Cisco asks. Permits pulled, closing contingencies? Nothing, Aries says as he leans back in his chair, rubbing 2 fingers over his bottom lip. No paper trail except the sale. But this just closed. What time? I ask as my heart starts hammering. Aries' eyes flick back to the screen. An hour ago. He might not even have the keys yet, Cisco says as hope and excitement pitch his tone. If we get there first, we might head him off. Let's go, Roman says as he stands and heads straight for the door. The building is empty. At least, it seems pretty safe to assume since there are no lights on shining through the windows, and I see no signs for any businesses that might be operating during the day. It makes sense since it just sold. Billings kills the engine, parked half a block down and across the street. We pile out quietly. It's always just me and Aries in this gigantic SUV. It's almost comical to watch as Roman, Juliet, and Cisco climb out in addition. Think he's here yet? I ask. I'm straining my enhanced ears, listening for signs, but I'm getting nothing. Can't tell, Aries says as we walk down the sidewalk. We keep quiet from here on out. Got it? Roman says. And it's actually kind of impressive to watch him in his element. Whatever his job in Chicago is, he's damn good at it. It's easy to tell. Hand signals, eyes open. If he's already in there, we go with our instincts. I and everyone else simply nod that we understand. We scan the building, and Roman picks a side door. Aries tests it and has the lock picked in under 10 seconds. The door is thankfully silent as Aries pushes it open. We step inside, and it's kind of miraculous that I can see. My eyes still dilate, mostly normally, unlike the Born. Their eyes stay dilated at all times, which allows them to see amazingly well at night, but makes them nearly blind during the day. So I'm positive I can't see nearly as well as they can at this moment, but it's still far, far better than I could before I died by Giovanni's blade. There's a lobby and a ticket booth. There are stairs that immediately head up on the left and the right. I think this is an old theater, but I hear the sound of faint voices on the other side of the wall before us. Roman presses a finger to his lips, a reminder to stay silent. One by one, we follow him up the stairs. They're old and dusty, but to our benefit, they don't squeak. My skin turns to goosebumps as the temperature seems to drop with every step. Roman bypasses the main floor of seating, instead heading all the way up to the balcony level. As we walk out, the sound of the voices increases. The hair on the back of my neck stands on end when I recognize one of those voices as James. We didn't beat him. But it's the next sound that stops all of us in our tracks, just moments before we step out onto the balcony. It cuts through the quiet like a blade through something live, wet and unnatural. It starts low, a grotesque slurping noise, like raw meat being dragged across concrete. Then a crunch, sharp and intimate, the sound of bone grinding against bone, not breaking but fitting, locking into place like puzzle pieces being forced together too fast, too tight. A moment of silence follows, and each of us looks at the other with absolute dread. We're too late. We're too fucking late. There's something in the air. I can't see it, but I feel something inside and around, like it's rushing. It's as if we're stuck in a tunnel and the air is being sucked in or out. I can't tell which. But it's entirely unnatural and completely disturbing. The sound builds. A wet pop, then another, like joints snapping back into sockets. But deeper, thicker. It's as if something once hollow is being filled, arteries swollen with new blood, lungs inflating for the first time in centuries. There's a grotesque gurgle, like fluid sloshing in a throat, and then a rattling, wet choke, the sound of someone trying to take their first breath through lungs that haven't remembered how yet. Aries shifts beside me. I feel him tense, and it's a testament to how damn disturbing the sounds are that we're all frozen here, immobilized by the horror of it. The temperature continues to drop, turning more frigid by the second. A tear, flesh knitting over raw muscle, the slick suction of tissue sealing closed. Then a terrible, stretching groan, like skin being dragged over a frame, too fast, too tight, too alive. A shiver rips down my spine as something lets out a shuddering moan. Not pain, not pleasure, just the confused, guttural sound of something remembering how to be alive. Roman curses under his breath. We all hear it now. The heartbeat. A wet thumping, pulsing erratically, like someone built a heart from scratch and didn't know which way it should beat. And it's wrong. It's so fucking wrong. I feel it in a visceral way. Stretching, curling, wrapping around bone with slick, wet snaps. A wet gasp fills the air, but it's not from any of us. Finally, it's Juliet who steps out onto the balcony. I see her face blanch white, and she covers her mouth with her hands. Aries steps out after her, immediately followed by Roman and then me, and finally Cisco. We find the edge tucked in the dark, but it grants us a perfect view of the stage and the nightmare waiting down below. Marcus stands in the center of the stage. In front of him is an old oak table, and lying upon it, there are bones. He keeps a hand laid on them. Only the bones are no longer still, and they are no longer simply bones. They twitch, rattle, shift, connect. Muscle begins to thread itself between the joints. Veins burst from within, wrapping around the growing tissue like vines choking a tree. A rib cage forms, a spine. The hollow socket of a skull knits into place. The body breathes. Breathes. Oh, fuck. I feel tears prick my eyes. It's the most disturbing and horrifying scene I've ever laid eyes on. And I walked in on my mother and sister's dead, murdered bodies. It's because I know what that reincarnating nightmare is, the wreckage he would make the world. And we were too late to prevent the beginning of this. I'm chilled even more when I hear Marcus muttering. I can't understand the words. And then I realize his eyes are entirely black. There isn't a trace of white left in them. Beside Marcus stands James, calm, steady, reverent. Two other men flank him, one on either side. They look so much like him that for a second I think I'm seeing triple. But no, brothers, they have to be. Their posture is militant, their expressions unreadable. Their gazes remain fixed on the reforming bloodfather. Aries' fingers close around my hand. I hadn't realized I was reaching for him until I feel his grip. We exchange no words, but I see it in his eyes. Horror. Marcus chants louder, the words something ancient and evil. The body keeps growing. Hair sprouts from the scalp. Skin stretches across bone, like paper being unrolled. Orbs start forming in the eye sockets, wet, round blobs of goop. I feel a scream building in my chest. Aries is trembling, barely restrained. The creature's chest rises and falls. And then he speaks. It's in a language I don't understand, but still the words chill me. The voice is wrong. It vibrates through the air. It rattles my bones and reaches into my chest. James and his brothers drop to one knee. Father, they utter at once, reverence in their voices. Juliet grabs Roman's arm. He doesn't even flinch. We have to stop this, she hisses. Aries breathes through his nose, and slowly he withdraws his dagger. Cisco leans in beside me. We're out of time. We have to do something now. Below us, the bloodfather turns his head in our direction. He sniffs the air once, and then he smiles. It's a smile that knows hunger and savage power. Aries whispers, now. Aries straight up jumps over the edge of the balcony, immediately followed by Roman, then Juliet, then Cisco. I hesitate for just a moment, but I know this new made vampire body of mine can handle it. I jump. Marcus doesn't see us coming. James does. He lifts his head, eyes narrowing just as Aries slams into the nearest brother with bone-shattering force. The man doesn't even scream, just crashes into the wall with a crack. Juliet throws a blade across the room. It hits the second brother in the leg, staggering him. Cisco follows in a blur, fists and fury. Chaos explodes. I take my closest opponent, James. No! James shouts as he sees everything erupt into chaos. He launches toward Marcus, trying to protect the nightmare unfolding before us, but I cut him off mid-sprint with a low tackle, slamming my shoulder into his ribcage. We hit the stone floor hard, but I recover faster, roll, mount, and hammer my elbow into his jaw. He snarls, blood flashing in his mouth. I go for an arm bar, twisting to lock in a submission, but he's strong. He wrenches free, his fist crashing against my ribs. I grunt, bones protesting, but I've taken worse, and I'm not so fragile anymore. He scrambles up, I follow. We circle, breath ragged in thick metallic air. In the background, I hear a bone snap. Aries or Roman, maybe Cisco, no time to look. You don't know what you're fighting, Lana. James pants, fury etched into every line of his face. Cyrus has kept us in the dark long enough. Don't fight the tide. Why did you have to turn out to be a fucking liar? I ask with a sigh. I'm getting pretty damn sick of people who are two-faced. He simply shakes his head in frustration and disappointment just before he lunges. I duck the first punch. It whistles past my ear. I block the second, redirecting his wrist with a tight parry and pivot into his space, slamming my knee into his thigh. He grunts but grabs a fistful of my hair and yanks, spinning me off balance. I twist with the motion and elbow him in the throat. He stumbles, coughing violently. I charge, fists flying, a combo. Jab, cross, hook. My knuckles crack across his cheek, split his brow, but he's fast. He's born, and we're fucking up his plan. He reaches for something from his pocket. Metal glinting under the low light. I dive, too late. Steel punches into my chest. The world shatters. It's just left of center, too close to my heart. I feel it slice, nicking muscle, maybe more. My body jerks. Pain flares, white-hot and devastating. But then, I feel the sting shift to heat. My heart stutters and keeps beating. I gasp. The regeneration kicks in like a fuse lighting through my bloodstream. I can feel the tissue knitting, the wound sealing, even while the blade is still in me. James's eyes widen. What the? I rip the blade from my chest. He flinches back, but I'm already moving. Made different, bitch, I bite. I punch low into his gut. Twice, fast and mean. When he folds, I hammer my elbow into the back of his neck. He collapses to a knee. I wrap my arm around his throat and pull, cinching a standing rear-naked choke. He fights it, slams his elbow into my ribs again, but I hold, legs locked around his torso. He's slipping. Then he slams us both backward. My spine hits the edge of something hard, and the wind whooshes from my lungs. I roll free, coughing. Behind me, Marcus cries out. Roman tackles him. They roll across the floor, fists flying. The bloodfather, still forming, sits up, a maniacal grin on his face as he watches the chaos. His skin is still raw. His voice is like gravel soaked in evil. He spouts words, but I don't have any clue what he's saying. I have no idea what language he would have even spoken in Austria over 2,000 years ago. Fuck, it's all so disturbing. Juliet shouts something I don't catch. One of James's brothers lashes out at her, slicing across her side. Roman roars, throwing Marcus aside and grabbing the brother by the throat. His grip tightens. Then he lets go and rips the man's heart from his chest. James is bleeding heavily now, his face a mess from my raking claws. What the fuck, Lana? You're not even human anymore. He spits. You bet your ass I'm not. He charges again. I feint left, spin, and catch him with a roundhouse kick to the side of his head. The sound it makes is wet and satisfying. He stumbles, dazed. I follow, grab his arm, wrench it into a lock, and snap the elbow joint. He howls. Behind us, I hear Roman yell something, a sickening crack of a neck breaking. But James is still mine. He lashes out, claws raking my shoulder, but I slip under and slam him to the ground with a double leg takedown. But we both look, just for a second, as Juliet pins Marcus to the ground. She places her hands on either side of his head. She twists and she rips. "No!" James screams like he's possessed as we watch Marcus's decapitated head drop to the ground. It's so damn savage. I feel it, like the air implodes, like the marrow of the world sucks inward. The bloodfather convulses violently on the table, his half-formed body arching up in a grotesque spasm. His skin cracks open like old parchment. Veins shrivel beneath translucent flesh. One of his eyes collapses into its socket with a sickening, wet pop. He begins to desiccate. It's like watching time attack him at hyperspeed. Muscles blacken and peel from bone. Organs rupture, deflating like rotted fruit. His ribcage shrinks inward, snapping with dry, brittle crunches as his chest caves in. James stumbles across the stage, desperately trying to get to the withering nightmare. "No, no, 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 please," he begs, sliding on the blood-slick floor, his hands reaching out like he can stop it. He can't. It's too late. The bloodfather turns to ruin, rotting by the second. The whole room feels suspended as we all watch the nightmare. And then there's nothing left but bones again. James kneels beside him, eyes wild, hands trembling above the remains. His breath heaves, and for 3 seconds it feels like it's over. Then something in James snaps. He spins, feral, his eyes scanning those around him. So fast I can hardly see it, he launches at Aries with a roar. I scream, but I'm too far away. Aries blocks the first strike, knocks James back with a solid elbow. But James is unhinged. He drives forward, pulling something from his belt like it's been waiting for this moment. The sound of it plunging into Aries' chest ends my whole world. A dull thunk, a sharp exhale. Aries' eyes go wide. He clutches at the stake, his lips parting in confusion. No words, just pain. His knees buckle. "Aries!" I scream so loud it rips my throat. The world tilts. I'm practically teleporting across the stage, but I can't stop it as his skin drains of color, going pale, then gray. His veins go dark. His mouth sags open. He collapses, heavy and final, to the ground. Still. Silent. Dead. Time and space feel suspended as the word echoes through my brain. Dead. Aries. Dead. Someone screams, someone bellows. It's like something ancient and bottomless inside me goes cold, then explodes. I turn on James. He doesn't even see me coming. I crash into him like a freight train, tackling him to the ground. We slam into the slick stone, my knee driving into his ribs with a crunch. His breath whooshes out. I see his eyes, startled, maybe even scared, and I don't care. I don't fucking care. My fists fly. 1, 2, 10. I don't count. I don't think. I feel bone break beneath my knuckles. I feel his teeth give under the hammer of my rage. Blood sprays my face, my hands, the walls. James tries to cover his head, but I grab his wrists, slam them to the floor, straddle his chest, and rain fury down. "You fucking bastard!" I scream, and my voice is not human. He gurgles something, maybe a plea, maybe a curse. I bare my teeth, and it all comes to a crystal-clear point as I drive my hand into his chest. Flesh parts like wet paper. My fingers curl around his heart, still beating, and I tear it free with a scream that rips my throat raw. James jerks beneath me. One last breath escapes his lips. His eyes roll back. He twitches once. Then, nothing. His skin turns gray, and he's absolutely still on the ground. Cisco kneels beside Aries, obscenities and pleas pouring out of him. I collapse to my knees beside Aries, shaking. Blood coats my arms, my chest is heaving, my entire body is trembling, but not from fear, from fury, from despair. I look at Aries. His eyes are still open, but he's not there. I cradle his face in my hands. No, I whisper. No, no, no. I press my forehead to his, tears falling hot and fast. Please come back to me. Please, Aries. But he doesn't move. He just lies there, like a statue carved from ash and sorrow, and I feel my heart tear in two. The space has gone still for a moment. James is dead. His brothers are dead. Marcus is dead. The bloodfather is dead. Aries is dead. And the world might as well just end now.